Okay, I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. And I guess we had the special meeting on May 9th. Let's start with that one first. Any additions or corrections to that meeting? If not, do I hear approval?
So
Moved by Cale.
Second.
Second by Dara. All in favor? Passes. Now the regular meeting minutes of the last meeting. Any additions or corrections to it? If not, do I hear approval?
So moved.
Moved by Dara.
second.
Second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. Sheriff's report's not there. We're going to move. We're going to move Lauren up because she has to be out of here tonight. So,
Well,
I can move, I should move after new business.
after new business.
Because
Okay.
there's several things in there that I
Okay.
may need to speak on,
Okay. Okay.
if I could, please.
Okay. After new business. Okay. Admin round audit report.
okay, let me give her,
Governance letter.
I will give
So-
her a call.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Okay.
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You are in the meeting now. There are 2 participants in the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You are unmuted.
Danielle?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Can everybody hear her?
Is everybody here?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
All right. Are you ready for me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Did the copies get to you guys today?
Yes, I got 3 copies of the audit report. The mayor has one, and everybody else has them on their Chromebooks.
Okay, perfect. I will go ahead and start with it would have been a separate letter that would have been in there. It says governance letter at the top. And this is our letter just communicating to management and governance any issues that we had with the audit, any difficulties we may have encountered, if we had any uncorrected or corrected misstatements that we had to do. And then it also goes through any disagreements with management, which we didn't have any, and then any audit recommendations. And those are at the bottom of page 2 where we list those. And both of those are comments that we had last year. The first one is in regards to the accounts receivable policy and getting that implemented so that the city can clean up its listing. And the second one's kind of the same thing. There's just some outstanding checks that they just need to reissue or void, which sometimes can be very time consuming. If not, it needs to be sent into the state to unclaimed property. So those 2 are both items that we touched on last year. And then at the bottom of the 3rd page is where we discuss our internal control deficiencies. And right there in the middle, the first bullet is for proper segregation of duties and just mentioning, the size of the city. There's not the proper separation of the processes and controls. And so we do have to note that, and with the size of your city, that probably will never go away. And then the second bullet is for, we have a significant deficiency on accounts payable this year due to the street project that you have, and it was just an oversight that one of the application payments that came in 2022 was actually for services rendered through December 31st of 2021. So that application actually had to be picked up as accounts payable for last year. So we did note that in that bullet right there for you. Any questions with those comments?
Does anybody have any questions?
No.
No.
Looks like basically the
Okay.
same things that we've always had, so
Yeah, mine quit too.
I just, like, I'm on the internet, I just don't think Google Drive.
I don't think there's any further questions, so you can go on.
Okay. All right, we'll go into the financial statements then. And on pages 1, 2, and 3, this is where we go through our independent auditor's report. And they did have a new standard that came out, so this report looks completely different than it did last year. But they now have the audit opinion right there in your first paragraph. So we do issue an adverse opinion on GAAP because you guys do a GAAP waiver approving us to do a regulatory basis audit. So the third paragraph down is where we're issuing an unmodified opinion on regulatory basis of accounting, and that's the highest opinion you can receive. And it's basically stating that we don't believe there are any material misstatements in the financials. The rest of the letter, it goes through the responsibilities of management, what you guys are responsible for, and then it goes through what we are responsible as the auditors. And then if you turn to page 4, or scroll through to page 4, this is where the financial statement that we actually issue our opinion on. And at the end of the year, you had $1.89 million in unencumbered cash, and this is a cash decrease of about $540,000 from the prior year. And as you know, last year you entered into the bond agreement, so you had some excess cash in there, almost $833,000, waiting for that street project to get going. So now that the street project has started, you used up some of that cash, and so you do have a decrease over the prior year. The remaining several pages are the notes to the financial statements. It goes through pages 5 through 13 or 14, and there wasn't necessarily any new standards in KMAG this year that came out, so I won't read through those. We do also look at statutory requirements and compliance with statutory requirements. We did not have any issues or any findings this year. If you want to turn to page 14, this is the long-term debt schedule. And this year, with the added bond on there, you have $3.5 million almost at the end of 12/31. Actually, no, that's not right because that's for the Public Building Commission. Sorry, I read that wrong. You have $2.19 million at the end of the year for the city, and then $1.2 million with ending balance for the Public Building Commission. And those are expected to be paid off. The last one is in 2040. And then the next several pages are each individual fund, the actual comparison to the expenditures. And we didn't have any budget violations. And as you scroll through these, you will see some new funds that were set up for that sales tax that you passed. Those funds are now in here, as well as your grant fund isn't new this year, but you did have a bunch of additional funding going into the grant fund this year as well. Do you have any specific funds that you would like me to touch on?
Anybody have anything you want to comment on? I don't think so. I think you can move on.
Okay, I don't really have much else to say. That's pretty much the end of the audit report, unless there is something that you guys specifically have questions for me.
Any questions from anybody?
Nope, no questions.
Nope, I think we're good.
You're good? Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Lila has my information. If anything comes up or if there's something that she's not able to answer, she knows how to get a hold of me. So please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be happy to answer any further questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a,
Anybody else been kicked off?
yeah, but I got back on.
Yeah, I'm still training you.
I just got back into the Google Drive.
Something's happening with we still have that issue with the pool, I think, and now it's connected, and that's unfortunate because everything's out here in the Chromebooks. I have a representation letter here from the auditors that need signatures from 2 council members, the mayor and 1 other council member. And it's the same letter that they give us every year that basically says what they have provided to us, and we are just signing and agreeing that they provided the service that they were contracted to do.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve signing this letter to Adams and Brown?
So moved.
Moved by Larry, second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. I've done it. Okay, well, we'll move on to the next item, which is the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. So are you here? I'll let you go through that.
Perfect. So it's not working, so I can hand out my paper stuff. Perfect.
Yeah.
This works great.
That's why I require paper all the time.
Wait, and that makes sense. It's great. Great. Okay.
I should check it out earlier. And it was like,
And then these are our stats for 2021, which is for all 34 counties. And then I'll tell you about specifically your town. Yes. And are all of you familiar with what we do at the WKCAC? And the recap? Okay, everyone knows. Yeah, so. Thank you. Well, since you're familiar with what we do, I'll just tell you what we did for 2021 in St. Francis. So we interviewed 1 child for a report of physical or sexual abuse. And, we worked with law enforcement and DCF to keep these kids safe, and that's really the start of that investigation based on that disclosure. Our advocates were there for that child and family, and then the previous ones we've interviewed, providing them support and advocacy 30 different times to be that support and just throughout that whole process, because healing's not an event, it really is a process to get through all of that trauma. And then our facilitator came here on our mobile unit and provided 25 art facilitation sessions, and this is this is a great service that we've been able to provide because sometimes words are just way too hard and they're not able to talk about everything that happened to them, so art is a really great medium. One of the things they do is this mask, and they show, how they present or feel on the outside or what they're expected of, and then on the inside they get it put how they feel. So a lot of times it's anger and disgust and guilt and shame, and it's really amazing what they're able to do with that art facilitation. And then our trauma-focused therapist provided 28 therapy sessions for 3 kids to help them heal from that trauma, and that's huge so that they can have healthy and successful lives, because if they don't get the help that they need to heal, generally, their trajectory just goes downward spiral. And so on that paper, I don't know if you saw it, but it was a misprint. We're going to request 3,000 this year. I'm sure you've heard fuel from everybody, but our mobile units is what provides all these services to the kids here to keep them safe. And to be able to do that, we need funding so that we can provide those services. And there's not any other agencies out there that are able to do that with that trauma response. And so we just want to help keep your kids safe if you guys would consider us for that. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from anybody on the council?
Oh, I would like to point out, so we interviewed 586 kids in 2021, so in 2020 it was 505. So that's a big jump, and we continue to see a rise in demand for services. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we're here a lot more this year, because post-COVID, the disclosures are just coming out left and right. They're
Do you team with local people in each town to try to come and be advocates with you guys to, if you run across a case where there's obvious case of abuse going on, how do you handle that on a local level?
So, I guess I'll start with the process. So a child accidentally or purposely disclosed the abuse, and then whoever reports that would report it to DCF or law enforcement, and then they know to give us the call to do that forensic interview. And so, and I mean, there could be community members, that could get involved, but since it is, confidential in that investigation, we want our advocates to do it, and because they're trained to help them and educate them. There could be behaviors going forward, or your kids could be super sexualized, There's so many different aspects of it, and so, but we work closely, with law enforcement, county attorney, DCF, and so that we can work as a team to figure out the best services and safety for all the kids we serve.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we'll keep you in mind when we get ready for our budget and everything. We appreciate the work that they do have to do.
Right.
Wish we didn't have to do that, but it's...
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. And then I'll leave our pledge with you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Travis. Okay, Carol, you're up.
I'm up, okay. Well, we've had a trailer parked in the alley for 8 years, 9, and we would like to propose being able to put in a very portable kind of landscaping. We would like to find a wrought iron fence, but we haven't found that yet. You guys know
Does
where-
everybody know where this is at? It's right behind the Lodge Hall. It's actually plotted as an alley, and there's a sewer line underneath there. But, it's never been used as an alley probably for 40 years. And
If something doesn't sit there, though, people go through it.
Oh, is that right?
And, I'm kind of afraid people going through, that's a really cement wall there, and it's a sharp turn, and sometimes we have kids there, and like to not park the trailer there. Like to put something, to deter traffic. I do think that if you guys allow this to go through, we need to add reflectors and, to make sure that people would see it.
and it's a real sharp turn from the alley into there because
Yeah.
that's right behind where we used to have the store. And it's a tight turn there, so it's really isn't used much for an alley anymore.
And you guys own where the cement is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, unless that's the alley.
Well,
I don't know how
that's
that-
part of the alley.
Oh,
And
okay.
when
I
they
know
poured
maybe
the
they
cement, we
carved
just
it
had to
there.
put in there that if that sewer line ever had to be worked on, we'd have to cut out some of the cement or whatever, if it ever was worked on. So, other than that, that's the only issue we'd ever have, is if that sewer line would ever need anything done to it. So, other than that, like I said, it hasn't been used as an alley. Probably has to go back to the old, what was his name, Lilick, that did the trash back in the day, when I was a kid, where he had a little ton truck, and he picked up the barrels and threw the trash on the truck. That back then, a little truck like that could get around through an alley, but nowadays,
So this is looking north and south?
yes.
Yeah, facing south.
The tan-colored building is the backside of the Lodge Hall.
Just so you know, if you go to that green fence, turn around and look the other way, you're looking at our church closet. That's
Okay.
back
Yeah.
out about where it's located.
Okay.
Right. So Carol was just wanting to know if they could put something portable across there to keep traffic from going through there and stuff, and, so I just
I don't see an issue.
Let's see.
let her,
Yeah.
Portable.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, it would take probably a minute if somebody had to go through to
There's
move
really
it
no
out.
reason
I
to have
mean-
to go through there, though.
I mean,
Yeah,
a fire
'cause
truck
it's
could
so high.
possibly
Well,
be,
maybe that.
but, you know, a fire truck or an ambulance for some reason, but, if it's something that can be shoved over to the side,
Yeah, you can move that in
So-
20 seconds.
Yeah.
everybody okay with it?
Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Sounds good.
Can I interrupt for just a second? Is everybody having issues getting,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you want me to go print hard copies of what we're going to be talking about, like the ordinances and those things?
I'm on.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm on.
You're on?
Yeah.
I'm not. I can't. I haven't been connected.
I'm connected again. I'm on the regular City Hall one now. So I'm connected.
It keeps jumping back and forth between two of them.
Yeah. It's up to you guys.
We'll try it. See if we can keep going.
Okay.
Okay, Gerald, you're up.
So I'm assuming this is the hot seat, so.
Actually, we usually put our recorder there, but it didn't end up there.
Quick, get the duct tape out.
So I'm here for the access road, basically, as you all know, has not very good shape. So I'm just here to see what we can get done with it, see if there is anything being done with it, and get a solution out on how to get it fixed or whatever. Been through it all. I know the process. It's not the cities, it's not the states. Somebody's. We've got to get it figured out, because that is,
It's a mess.
Garbage.
We know.
Yep,
Yep.
we agree. We
It's
agree.
an embarrassment.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's very embarrassing to the city as far as I'm concerned. I think there's roughly 13, 14 potholes in that one intersection off from my building there.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace is what it is.
It's just not the access, or I mean, it's just not the crossovers, it's access roads.
It's the crossovers, it's the access road, it's basically everything, so.
And I think every one of us up here has vented about these things multiple times, and I think the last time I did it, my wife spilled her drink when we were crossing over, and it was such a rough thing, her drink spilled. And so our next meeting, I mentioned it, and then we mentioned it again, so it's become a point of contention.
This has been in the works for about 3 years, and we really can't go into too much discussion on it tonight.
Which is fine, but.
Because of legal.
Right, so if you read all the ordinances from the state, not a lawyer by any means, don't want to be, but my point is the statutes of the state says it's the cities. I basically just want some potholes filled in. I could really, you guys can go after that. Customers coming in, I got delivery trucks coming, they're going down that, off the highway into there and back up, so cars coming through, whatever, something needs to be done. Nothing's been done for many years on that, as you all know. And I've talked to the state, and, they're the same way. It's the cities. I don't know whose it is, but something's got to be done with the potholes. So I guess I would like to see the potholes filled on Francis Street there, from across there and coming in. So I mean,
We've been trying to fix some potholes, but I know there's so many of them that they're not all getting covered, so.
Is there anything that you can tell him at this point?
This matter has had a special attorney retained that we cannot discuss in open session due to legal strategy. But I will let you know that there has been special counsel who focuses on this type of matter retained to work on this. But beyond that, we can't discuss it in open session.
That's fine. But, I mean, how long is it going to take for them to do what they're doing?
Exactly.
So, I mean, so we, got letters from Mike Day from the state that back in 19, we're almost 3 years in from this letter. If we let that road go any longer without some action being done, we might as well just tear it up and have a dirt road. We'd be way better off. I mean,
Yeah. I agree with you, it's going too long.
so,
And it's to the place where it has to be tore clear out.
right. And so my point is, nothing's going to get done this year. Nothing's going to get done next year. Is anything going to get done the following year? I have no idea. The state guy says for at least 2 years. Nothing this year, nothing next year, maybe possibly if you guys come to an agreement. So you're looking at what, 2025? You know what, that road,
Yeah, it's going to be so bad.
if we could get some of the holes fixed in for,
Yeah, can we get, well, what kind of temperatures do they need to fill those?
I'm going to put a stop.
To do some
No,
potholes?
no.
Yeah.
We're not, we really can't in open session for risk of assumption of liability.
Yeah.
We cannot discuss this in open session.
so
Sorry,
basically
yeah.
you're saying nothing's going to get done then?
I'm saying that we have counsel and we are working with counsel who focuses on this, and when they give us a recommendation or a path forward, we will at that point make it known to the residents of what our course of action will be. But until we have direction from counsel, there's really not anything that can be discussed in open meeting because it's subject to attorney-client privilege until such time as it becomes something that is subject to open meeting.
But I can say this, which won't have any bearing on what the attorney is saying is, what you're feeling, you have to believe we're feeling, and we want it that 10 times as much.
Right.
And so know that.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, the potholes aren't going to get filled in then?
We can't make a statement as to that effect.
Can I fill them in?
That is a question we will run by counsel who represents the city in this matter.
I mean, 'cause I am willing to go fill in my own potholes over there on that part of the street if I have to. That's,
I will contact Michael Baxter as the attorney for the city in this matter, and I will forward your question on to him, and we will get you a response if he. We will get you his response.
so, I don't know how, my questions probably won't be answered. Anyway, so the city is taking care of the medians now. Isn't that part of the access road also?
I can't confirm, and I can't confirm this largely because I'm not the attorney on the matter in
Right.
this. So I am unsure as to the scope that the city is taking on and how that pertains to the legal position of the city in this matter. I realize that is a very politician answer where I have completely sidestepped your question. But we are working with Mr. Baxter, and my understanding is that there is to be a special meeting, executive session, to discuss specifically this within the next month. And so the council is very frustrated with the situation as well. I mean, I believe the council has made it known that just when you drive by, that's not what you want to be seen from 36.
Right.
And so the council has recognized that these letters are 3 years old and that this may turn into a larger matter than what has previously been discussed. And so that is why they contacted counsel who focuses in these kinds of matters and has experience in negotiating with the state and litigating with the state. And so the council has escalated it. But beyond the scope of that, we really can't comment.
Okay.
But I will forward your question on to Mr. Baxter of if you can fill your own pothole.
Well, okay, so hypothetically, what happens if the pothole fairy comes out at midnight and fills in holes?
We don't know. I've heard them strike once before. I don't know.
Well, so the Benton Street, right up the street, potholes were filled in up there about 6 weeks ago. Roughly, give or take. By somebody. I know who. I watched them do it, so.
Another two.
Okay. Obviously, they're not in jail, so.
Yeah. We wish we could do more for you, but right now we can't.
Okay. Well, I'm just here to.
We appreciate your comments.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
We do.
We really do, because we need.
We feel it.
We feel it too.
Well, I'm sure you do. I'm not here, we all feel it one way or another,
Yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
there's nothing getting broadcasted to what's, I read in the paper last week we had an attorney working on it. That's all. You don't,
Yeah.
a little input would be nice. Obviously, that can't be done, but, you know what I'm getting at.
I
so.
do, and the letters that I recognize that you have those letters. What I can let you know is the scope of work that the attorney found pertaining to previous documents was larger than was originally thought. It has required travel time from the attorney. It has required research from the attorney, both at the state level and at the Register of Deeds office. I mean, I can tell you that he has been doing research. I can't tell you what that is. I can't tell you his legal conclusions. I can't tell you anything he's said. But I can let you know that he has been working on it. And correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is the council is working on having a meeting with him
Yes.
by the end of June, preferably at the beginning
I
of
think,
June.
hopefully,
Beginning.
yeah, maybe sooner.
Okay.
Well, I would hope so. I would hope that we would work him over hard to get him to get something done, because the longer this drags out, the worse it's just going to get.
Sure.
It's going to be worse for everybody else in the
Right.
community, you guys, whatever. So anyway, that's all I had. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye, Don.
Sorry, Cal, I didn't mean to. I just want to make sure that we're not assuming any liability in an open meeting.
Okay, next item is a special event permit for the farmer's market. Kelly Milliken.
Same as last year, every Saturday in the shelter on the east end of the park, Saturday mornings 9 to 12 through from June through September. No alcohol or cereal malt beverages, and so she's asking for approval and waiver of liability insurance requirement.
Are you off now?
Yeah, I just got it back in.
So do I hear a
I'll take
motion to
turns.
approve the farmer's market?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Larry, second by David, all in favor? Approved. Okay, next one is a trash waiver for George Harper.
This is a new one. He has not had a waiver before. This is at 528 South Cherry, and the building is used for storage.
Everybody knows where that is. Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve the trash waiver application?
So moved.
Moved by Dara,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Approved. Travis isn't here, so okay, we'll go with you now, Lauren.
Okay. I sent an email, and my document should be out on the share. The Kansas legislature passed a limitation on the fee that can be charged for a special event alcohol permit. They have limited it to $25. This is in addition to the $25 fee that gets submitted to the state. We currently have it set at $100, so we have to revise it. There was a memo sent to the clerks that states, we recommend you revise your ordinances and special applications. So what we did was we had it in we've had it approved, but we didn't actually have it codified previously. So what my ordinance 633 does is it actually inserts it into the code for enhanced cereal malt beverages at 3-221, and for alcoholic liquor at 3-307. And it's the same language in each, except for one is enhanced cereal malt beverage, one is alcoholic liquor, and it limits that special event fee to $25. So it's just that amendment to.
Just 25, or is it 50 total then?
It's 50 total. So it's the $25. It's the $25 licensing fee, and then the $25 application fee.
And it was $100 plus 25.
Plus 25. So it was 125, and now it has to go down to 50.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve this ordinance 633, reducing it down to $25 instead of the $100?
Yes.
Okay, moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Dare. All in favor?
We need a
Oh,
roll call
yeah.
because it's an ordinance.
Okay, David,
Yes.
Cale,
Yes.
Dare, Larry.
Yes.
Okay, passes.
Okay, my next topic is ordinance number 634, and it is regarding the collections for the CBK contract that we had looked at, that we had discussed last meeting, but it wasn't approved. It was pending my approval. I don't have an objection to the contract. Ordinance 634 adds Article 7 to the administrative code because we don't currently have a financial section, which is where the statute, the ordinance that we used as kind of the model ordinance is from. It was from Concordia, and they have a section in their administration provision that is finance. And so Lila and I looked back at where we had like the equipment reserve and special capital improvement funds, and those were just done by ordinance, and they were never actually codified. And so while we're on that subject, I think while we're discussing recodification, we need to put those into a code section. But for now, since we don't have one, I created Article 7 and states that the city shall be able to contract with for the collection of debts. I'm sorry, my Google Docs is not opening, so I'm doing this from memory. I believe Article 701, 1-701 states that the city reserves the right to contract with a third party for the collection of any debts owed to the city. And then Article 1-702 states that the city is going to enforce the costs of such collection on whoever the debtor. Thank you. The cost of collection will be assessed against the person liable. They will be responsible for paying those costs. So that is the summary of what that ordinance is. As far as the contract goes, I have no objection to the contract, but he stated if you have a rate in there you want to put it in. We don't have a rate. Concordia doesn't have a rate. I looked at a couple other cities that I could find online. I didn't see a rate in their ordinance. So I would just say that we need to speak with them and ask what their rate would be, so that way we can put that in the contract. But
I think he said 3%. I'm pretty sure when we talked about this before.
did
Does
you
that
say 3%
sound
or
familiar?
did you say 33%?
33%. Between 30 and 33%.
Generally, debt collection is
you're right.
30 to 40%.
Right.
Should
I
we-
think between 30 and 33% is what
Yeah, I
he's
think
talking.
you're right.
So I would think, if we would need to get what that rate is before we sign the contract, but I have no objection to the contract that they propose. However, this is the collection ordinance that I am suggesting. 1-702 is modeled off of Concordia's as well as the proposed language that was suggested by CBK. 701 merely states that we are reserving the right to contract third parties like we do with other services.
Any other questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 634? Moved by David, second by Cale. Need a vote, David? Cale?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
It passes.
I guess I'll find out what percentage to put in there and bring this to the next meeting then for...
If you would, please.
Okay.
All right. Ordinance number 635 has to do with the trash collection. I cannot get Google to work, so I just remoted into my server so I can pull it up. What we have done is gone from a quantity of a count to a volume quantity of trash collection with this formula that is on the spreadsheet. In order to designate how that's going to work in the code, we had to amend a couple words of each section of all of Article 5. The biggest one is in definitions, and that's that we now have cart and dumpster, and then refuse container, which is any cart and or dumpster. And a cart is defined as a refuse receptacle which has wheels and holds half of 0.5 cubic yards of refuse. Dumpster is any refuse receptacle with a capacity larger than a cart. So that is the distinction that we need to make going forward. Refuse container is defined as any cart or dumpster, so when we're talking about them collectively. We had to put in refuse container because it had wheeled bin or 6-yard dumpster. And so I went through and took those out and put in refuse container because we need those definitions in there now. There was an addition made to 15-507B. This section was added. It is refusal of collection. Solid waste collectors employed by city or operating under contract with city may refuse to collect garbage and trash in the event the garbage or trash is not in the refuse container, the refuse container is not in the designated area prior to 7 a.m. on the designated collection day, or if the garbage or trash is not bagged prior to being placed in the refuse container. So that incorporates that refusal of collection. The wrapping garbage, we added and bagged before being placed. It used to just say drained of all excess liquid and wrapped in paper or other disposable container. With the new bagging requirement of the contract, I added the words and bagged. The penalties under 15-514A, we added in the 15-509 just because it now has, if it's not bagged, we had discussed if it was not going to be bagged and it was a repeat offender and they'd received notice and they were told they needed to, then they would be subject to a penalty. This was discussed. This is at least what's in my notes from when we discussed it about a year ago. So we did that, so I implemented that. And then the largest change, as you will see, is 15-523, which is the fee schedule. The charge for the first cart is $16.25 per month, payable monthly. The charge for the first count for each account located outside the city limits but on city utilities shall be $26.50 per month, payable monthly. I spoke with Jen and I spoke with Lila on this, and this is how I'm proposing we word subsection C. The charge for any account which has one or more dumpsters shall be calculated based on the cubic yardage of such refuse containers utilized by such customer, as well as the number of times such refuse containers are emptied each week. This formula and the amounts shall be kept at City Hall and made available upon request. This is a complex formula with 8 inputs, and they have it on a spreadsheet that can be printed and that can be explained. And shy of putting the name of each business and how many containers they have and how many times it's picked up, and this is why it's calculated this way, there's really not a way to do it. Jen and I brainstormed, and we really don't think there's a way to do it unless you list out this business pays this much, this business pays this much. And one, if the business changes. Two, if their yardage changes, if their weekly pickups change, if anything else changes. It's just going to be easier to say, there's a formula, it's at City Hall, it's available upon request. So, I mean, it's not like we're hiding anything. We can explain what it is. But outside of just putting this business pays this business pays this business pays this, we thought that that was the best way. Now, if you want me to go through and spell out what that formula is, I can work with Jen on that if we want to wait to pass this. If you want to wait to pass this ordinance.
I just have one small question.
Yes.
I'm just no redneck from Texas, so you have to help me. 15-501 on J. It says all materials such as paper, tin cans, bottles, glass, and crockery. What is crockery?
It's a bunch of crock.
Crockery.
It's like clay.
It's
Ceramics?
Like clay pots or something?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I must be the only guy in here that know, but I don't know what's crockery.
It's you know the stuff that, you know the material that your crock pot's made out of? There are dishes that are made out of that same material. They're usually old and decorated with orange and brown. Am I wrong?
Good.
Sometimes they're white and blue.
Plates, dishes, cups, other similar items, especially ones made of earthenware or china.
Earthenware, that's what I was trying to think of.
My wife has taught me what earthenware is.
Well, I was like, it's like the stuff in the crock pot, but not. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about
I don't know how to.
I mean,
Yeah. So that's what we have for the fee schedule. Then, of course, each additional cart utilized at pickup, there will be assessed an additional $12 monthly charge. If more than one weekly pickup is required for an account which utilizes one or more carts but no dumpster, additional pickups will be charged at the rate of $13 per cart times the number of weekly pickups. There's assessed to each billing account a monthly fee of $1.50. Solid waste bills will be rendered monthly along with, if applicable, water and electricity bills, and the penalty provisions for late payment as established by Section 15-222 will apply. And because the penalty for an unpaid bill is established up in the water section rather than down. And so we just refer to that because it all comes on one bill. We have that this is to be effective as of June 15th and shall be enforced as of such date following its publication in the St. Francis Herald and Bird City Times. Because we're in the middle of a billing cycle, we can't do it until the following billing cycle.
But if you decide to do it, there is a letter out on the Mayor, I think I gave you a copy there, that Jen created, here it is, to send out, and we can send it out. She's going to be working on bills this week. We could send that out to let people know if this is the direction you guys choose to go. Should be called trash rates. Probably linked in the clerk report.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Still can't get in here.
Which one is it?
Trash rates letter, it's on the clerk report. gives people an opportunity to call in if they want to make changes once.
Yep.
Because there's going to be some people making changes, I think. Not a whole lot, but there'll be a few. Especially the ones that has 2 containers now, they might go, oh, I'm going to start getting it on, watching my stuff and put it in 1 container. Any further questions on this ordinance 635? Anybody got, do you need to visit about it more, or are you ready to pass the ordinance 635?
It's basically what we've been discussing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Your motion to move forward with 635. Moved by Cale.
Second.
Second by Larry. We need to vote on it. David? Yes. Cale? Derek?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Okay.
Still on the trash, there is on the shared a contract renewal for right to operate municipal garbage collection and disposal service. This states that this will go into effect as of June 1. As of June 1, 2022, or actually of June 2, 2022, and continue for 5 years until June 1 of 2027. Either party can terminate this agreement or any extension thereof for cause by giving 60-day notice or without cause by giving 120-day notice. As discussed in Section 1, the fees, we have that there of the $18.90 per account serviced to Hill. Adjusted by 3% increase for the second year and 3% increase for the following year. There is also a fuel adjustment provided for in there, which has always been there in the past. And then an adjustment for if dumping fees were to increase it more than 10% in any given year. Section 2, City's responsibilities has not changed. City agrees to provide and maintain the appropriate trash receptacles for the various accounts to be serviced and ensure that they are of proper capacity, and the City will collect from the serviced accounts the monthly collection fee to be paid to Hill along with other associated fees. Hill's responsibilities have not changed. The main thing that has changed in the contract is what was discussed before, in the event of a pandemic. That is at the bottom of Section 4, Operations and Contingencies. In the event of a pandemic or act of God which renders Hill incapable of performing any of its weekly pickups as herein provided, Hill shall notify the City of such not less than 24 hours before the next regularly scheduled pickup. If such event occurs less than 24 hours before such pickup, Hill shall notify the City as soon as possible. Further, if Hill is incapable of performing any of its weekly pickups, Hill shall immediately upon return to regularly scheduled service, Hill shall pick up all bagged trash regardless of whether inside or outside the receptacle. Scott spoke with...
Yeah, I talked to him, and he said he understood that. He said that the containers could be over full and trash beside him, and he said they would pick it all up.
So he's good with everything in the contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I just realized it says Hill shall, and then it has a comma, and then it says Hill shall, so I will... I will delete that, and I will email you. I'll email you this revised. It's just, I took out a Hill shall because it says it twice.
It also says, is incapable for performing. Should that be of?
It should. anybody who might have any questions, comments, concerns about this.
Anybody?
No, if you're good with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the contract with Hill after these couple of minor things are ironed out in that?
So,
Moved by David,
Second.
second by Cale, all in favor? Approved.
Okay, well, I will send you that new one right now.
If I sign here, is that part of it, is that in here? Or you need me to come back down to sign?
We may want to wait to have the mayor sign. I don't know if that's going to bump the signature lines.
Okay.
My revision. I don't think that it did, but
I'll sign it, and then if she needs
if it did, he can sign it again.
Right.
Perfect. While we're on the subject of trash, I had an enraged citizen come into my office on Thursday morning. Was in there for about 40 minutes, frustrated that she needs to move her garbage can and that somebody picked it up when it blew down the way, and that whoever picked it up bungee corded it, and so the trash people didn't pick it up because it was bungee corded, and for some reason she's mad at the city about that, even though the city wasn't the one who bungee corded it. So she's upset at the city. She also stated that she believes that the city requiring her to move her trash receptacle is a violation of her 13th Amendment right and forcing her to engage in slave labor. And she is considering suing every single one of the city council members for forcing her into slavery. So I, in no uncertain terms, said that was the most frivolous lawsuit I'd ever heard of, and I look forward to defending it and asking for sanctions against her for bringing a frivolous lawsuit. As a point of discussion in this matter, in reviewing my duties under the code, I am not an elected official. I represent the council. I'm not elected to represent the citizens. I'm appointed to represent the city and to advise the council. And actually, most of the time, I am adverse to the citizens because half of my job is to sue them in municipal court. So it is going to be the policy of my office that we will not hear any complaints going forward. I think that needs to be brought to the elected officials. So I'm just going to, I've advised Janet that if someone calls, we're going to ask if it is a currently pending municipal court case. If it is not a currently pending municipal court case, you need to contact City Hall, you need to come to a council meeting. So that is how we're going to handle that going forward. Then there was a question that the mayor had regarding the the quantity of animals. And that was because we are having a repeat offense, should we notify the landowner? And the way I read the ordinance, it states if you own or harbor more than 3 dogs, 3 cats, or a combination of 5 subject to the 3 limitation, then you are in violation. And so because the landowner is not owning or harboring, it technically doesn't apply to them, and so we can't interfere due to possibly meddling in privity of contract. However, there is a proposed solution that the council could have if you wanted to notify the landowner of repeat offenders, which is changing the ordinance language from own or harbor to own, harbor, or permit to be owned or harbored. And so that way it's not just if you own or harbor them, but if you allow them to be harbored in a place that you own. And so we could just add those couple of words to the ordinance, and that would allow, I don't know if that would allow more teeth, but if you notify a landowner, their landlord, that they may be brought in front of municipal court for a violation because of something their tenants are doing, that might be a little stronger than us continuing to assess municipal court costs, because this is the, I think, third time in 3 or 4 years that this individual has been before the municipal court. So I didn't go down that rabbit hole of amending it, but it would be a very short, I could put it in and have it ready for the next council meeting if you want to do that.
What else would that work for? I mean, when you think about that, when there is somebody renting out a home here in town that lives in our town, what else could we include besides just dog? I mean, there's just so many things.
I know, but we'd have to go through ordinance by
Each
ordinance.
one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which,
Right.
I mean, we could do. I mean, the perfect time to really do that would be if we do this recodification. Because then what they'll do is they'll put it in, and I have to review it before it gets approved, and I could just highlight the paragraphs that I want the council to look at and say, hey, do we want to put this in here? And then, rather than, I mean, this is an imminent problem on repeat for this particular situation, and so I didn't know if we wanted to address maybe that now and just put those, or permit to, I mean, it's like 6 words that I need to just stick in there. And so we could do that presently, and then go through it and look at that when we recodify, which I'm hoping we will do next year, if we get it in the budget. Because it's been 8 years and there's a ton of ordinances.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if council wanted me to go ahead and amend that, or if you want to just wait.
What do you think? Wait until we do
I'd say wait.
Okay, wait until we do the recodification of everything, and, okay.
Perfect.
Let's do it that way.
Okay. Then, my final thing is, we had municipal court on Wednesday. I prosecuted the very first egregious case of property cleanup. The property was out of compliance for 139 days, which I successfully proved in court. The penalty for this individual, after court costs were assessed and a payment plan fee was included, was $7,158. Because the penalty is $50 to $100 per day that you are out of compliance. I asked for the minimum penalty. I asked for $50 a day, which is what we got. Judge Keller had stated in court that she asked me if she had any leeway on this, and I told her the way I read the ordinance, she does not. It states, upon being found guilty, it shall be convicted of a penalty of 50, not less than 50, nor more than 100, or more than 30 days in jail. So, the way I understand it, the way I've explained it to the council, the way I've explained it to the judge is, the way the ordinance reads is $50 to $100 per day that they're out of compliance. The clock starts when they get that notice. It stops when they're back in compliance. The judge, I believe, feels like this is too harsh because she wanted to know if she had any leeway, if she had any wiggle room, if she had any, and that's. While my position is no, that's really not a question I can be answering because I answered it's not my job to advise the judge, it's my job to advise the council. She wanted to know, why it was worded this way, why is there jail time, and because I told her we're never going to seek jail time for it. I mean, I don't see the point in the council paying $55 per day to put someone in jail while the property just sits there not even getting cleaned up. So, I think the council's on board with that. So, I said, we're never going to ask for jail time. She wanted to know why that was in there, and so she asked me to look into that. And I told her that after we had that one instance where we had to look into that individual who was transient and everything else, I told her that my marching orders from the city are to not engage in any research project that is not explicitly requested by the council or the mayor. So she said she would reach out to Judge Leanne Taylor, who's a municipal judge in Goodland. The way they do it, I guess, is that they take the position, or perhaps their city attorney does, but the way it was relayed to Judge Keller is that if you're going to count each day as a separate violation, then the city needs to bring a court case for every day they're not in compliance. And I told her I don't think that's even close to how the council intended it. Also, I don't see that because if somebody drives without a license, without insurance, without a registered car, and is speeding, we don't bring 4 court cases, we bring 1 case for all of the violations. So, my interpretation of the ordinance is as follows. But she received this information from Judge Taylor and is thinking that maybe she should only be assessing $50 to $100 for each infraction, for each time their property is out of compliance, which means that it could be out of compliance for 12 months and they're still only getting slapped with a $100 penalty. My understanding is that is not what council wants. Council wants some teeth behind it. But she received this information from Judge Taylor and asked me to look into it further, and would you please mind looking into this and doing this and reporting back. And I just said, I've looked at our ordinance, this is how I read it. I mean, my understanding is it starts when they're out of compliance, it stops when they're back in. So, I guess I am going to put this in front of the council as to whether they want me to do this or whether they don't want me to look further into this. And also, I don't know if it's prudent, I will leave it up to council, to have the judge come in and discuss her concerns. Because my job is to enforce the ordinance as it stands. And if she has concerns about that, I don't know that I'm the appropriate one to be relaying these concerns to council because I don't have them. I don't know if council wants to set, she seems to me, and I don't know if this is true, but she seems to me to be frustrated that she has no leeway in her sentencing. She has no jurisdiction to override what it says. And so, and maybe it is, and maybe the council agrees and it is too steep. And maybe the council wants it explicitly stated that the fine, rather than each day is out of compliance, is a separate violation. Maybe the council wants it stated each day that it is out of compliance is $50. I mean, to phrase it, this is how we want it, so that the judge does not have that question. But I'm a little bit between a rock and a hard place, because on one hand, if the judge tells me to do something and I don't, I could be found in contempt of court. But I also have my marching orders from my client, who is the city, which is not to go researching things. So I guess I don't know if the council may want to have the judge come in to discuss this. I'll defer to council on this. I don't know that it's my place.
I don't know what everybody think. I know what I think, but I'll let everybody else talk first.
I agree that we gotta have some teeth in it. I think it looks pretty steep.
It is steep.
And it went so long.
She said $7,000, they'll never collect that.
No, that's definitely,
And so,
some people can't do that.
and so I guess the other proposal is that we could set, if it's out of compliance, there could be length of out of compliance. Like, if you're out of compliance for 30 days, it's $500. If you're out of compliance for 60 days, it's $1,000. If you're out of compliance for 90 days. It goes up by $500, 0 to 30, 500, 31 to 60, 1,000. I mean, we could set it up so there's an incentive to get it back in ASAP.
Could you leave the language the way it is, to where that number, I know it is a very scary number, but could you leave the language the way it is, but also let the clients know that if compliance is met, if there's someone working towards compliance, then we have a cap number, a maximum number that we will agree on beforehand that, I don't know what that would be.
Well, here's
$1,000, $2,000, what it would be. But, you know, if compliance to be met, then here's your cap number. I mean,
well, here's the thing is that we pause. If they're working with it, we pause the time running. There was a case last year where this individual was cited, brought into court, came in, first appearance of what do I need to do? We said, get a list from JR. They said, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. They couldn't paint because it was the winter months by the time they got it done. We ended up only assessing, I think it was like $150 because they came in and they made progress. We stopped the running of that time because they were doing it. But it's
but the problem is you're never going to get $7,000 out of it. I would imagine.
Well, and that's the thing is that, I mean, if the council wants those teeth, we have to enforce those teeth. If the council wants something less, I personally feel, even though that was the ordinance at the time, that in the interest of judicial fairness, we need to summon that individual back for a sentencing hearing for a more lenient sentence if we're not going to enforce that $50 a day. And I don't know what council wants it to be. Like I said, I would think that if we want to incentivize them to get it in compliance faster, $500 for day 1 through 30.
What are your thoughts, Scott?
Well, we've got to put teeth into it. Because these individuals that we're talking about and we're going to, they just don't want to do anything. And without any teeth into it anymore, and maybe this is too much, but we've got to have some teeth into it. And we can't back it off very far, or we're going to lose. I think this individual, I mean, I'm sure it's all over town already what he had to pay. And that's going to wake up a lot of people and say, oh, they're going to be strict about this. And maybe we're too strict, I don't know, but we got to have teeth in it, or else we just lost where we're going with it.
What he had to pay, or what he had to come up with a payment arrangement on?
Yeah, have we collected? That's the question.
No, he opted for, the city has an option for municipal court. If you cannot pay your fines or a diversion agreement all at once, you may pay an additional $50 and have a payment agreement. And we have that, this individual entered into a payment agreement, which is still going to take about 6 years to collect.
Is the property still in this?
No, it's
no,
okay.
It was compliant as of the 6th of, no, the 17th. The 6th.
No, 17th.
17th. It was the 17th. It's the other one that was compliant as of the 6th. So, and then we had another case that was prosecuted. They pled no contest, and it was like $2,100 after the court costs and everything. Because they were out of compliance for 38 days. And once again, I asked for the minimum. I asked for the minimum because they were in, but that's still, I mean, that's still $2,000 that they're going to be paying. So I don't know what the council wants to do. I don't know if we want to table this for next week. I don't know if you want me to propose a fine schedule and present it to the council. I don't know, but the judge is concerned, and
I think we need to make this case a case we keep track on to make sure that they pay. I'd be interested to see if they pay.
Well, this person, it's going to take him forever to pay it. Well, almost all these properties that we're going to be sending these out to, almost all of them are going to be in the same boat.
If they don't clean it up.
Right. If they don't clean it up, they're
Or
in
if
the
they
same
don't
boat.
contact the city.
Right.
The problem,
Yeah.
the thing that people come in, and, well, am I in compliance? Well, if you would just contact the city when you get the letter, you wouldn't be in court.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, there is an updated letter out there. I don't know. So
Good segue.
we talked about this in court and decided that we would add the verbiage about the violation being $50 and up to $100 a day in the initial notice that goes out. So they clearly know.
Yeah, they do know it. And we give them some time to get it cleaned up quick. And if they need more time, they need to be talking to us. And
Taking
so,
the initiative.
yes, they got to come and say, oh, we can't do it. I mean, the one lady did call me, that one over there on, what was that, Emerson? And said, we can't get it done this week. Can you give us one more week? So we did. They got a church group in there and they got it cleaned up. And I told her we don't want to give her one more week. I said, we'll give you till the next Friday. Well, they had it cleaned up. And so, the one up on Lorraine Street, you got that today, didn't you? On Lorraine Street?
Yes, it's ready for you to sign.
It's, everything's in compliance, but the fence isn't fixed yet. I wish they would have called me on it because maybe they got fence ordered and it hasn't come in yet. You know, get the materials. But the other stuff is all picked up and gone. So I thought, well, I'm going to sign that it's in compliance and maybe later down the road say, when are you fixing the fence? But at least they got rid of all the junk. The junk is gone. And so I felt like the letter, and they did it in the time frame. They're not calling and saying, well, we can't get the fence fixed yet because we're waiting on materials or whatever. And that's what I would guess is probably happening there because everybody's having trouble getting materials. So yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I understand that is one heck of a deal to throw on some of these people, but yet, and I'm not saying we shouldn't lower it, and maybe we should lower it, but we still got to have teeth in it. We got to have teeth in it.
What if we give Judge Keller some leeway in these cases? It's been-
I don't think we give her leeway.
No.
I think we set it, and she follows our deal.
Can you put a cap on it or something? Or?
Yeah, so you gotta have accountability, and you gotta have teeth.
Right.
My whole thing is I don't want it to be false.
Going and going and
Yeah.
going.
Right. Well, but that's, I mean, I think that's sliding scale. I mean, I was thinking about it after Judge Keller emailed and we had that conversation one day. I think that sliding scale is probably the best way to go to give it some teeth. If you're out of compliance for 1 to 30 days, you're at 500 or whatever number the council wants to pick. If at 31 days it goes up to 1,000. At 61 days it goes up to 1,500. And so, I mean, $500 for some people is
A lot of money.
a lot of, I mean, $500 is nothing to sneeze at for anyone, but for some people that's an egregious amount of money. And so I think that having that, I mean, because really, day 1 through 15, there's no fine. It's not until day 16 that we count all of those days. And really, if you contact the city, we won't even start that count. I mean, we will give you additional time. So, I mean, I think that in order to incentivize people to get it cleaned up faster, rather than putting a cap on it, it's just, this is what it is for this many days. This is, I mean, you know what it's going to be. You know that the longer you have it, the more you're going to pay. And hopefully that'll, I mean, would council like me to draft something like that for presentation at the next?
How far do you want to drop it down? Because right now, it's basically $1,500 a month that they're out of compliance from the day that.
A minimum of 1,500.
Right. That's the minimum.
15 to 300.
And how many days was this?
139. And then the other property, the other property up on Emerson, because one of them did go to court. One of the properties, 420, I forget which one was which. Either it was 421 and 417, and one of them got in compliance within time, and the other one did not, and they were issued a citation. And so when they came to court, they had been out of compliance for 38 days from the time that the first letter was served until they were back in compliance.
What you're saying, even that would have not been the case, they just made a phone call.
Right.
Yeah, what they had left on that property, yeah.
If they make the phone, I mean, here's the thing, is that if when we send that letter, they make a phone call, we won't issue a court case. Because the minute a court case is issued, it's a $158 court cost. And so, in addition to whatever fines are imposed. And in order to do that, I mean, the city has a certain burden that we have to do, and I have to prosecute. And there is a cost to the city to go through with this. And so it's much more advantageous both to the property owners as well as the city to get this rectified as quickly as possible. Because the court cost, I mean, to prepare to prove that a property was out of compliance and what was wrong with it, we have to prove that it was out of compliance, why it was out of compliance, how long it was out of compliance, and when it came back into compliance, if it has or if it has not. And then we have to call them back in when it comes back in for compliance to have the final sentencing. And so, I mean, this is all costing the city because it's court costs. And so, I mean, I do think it needs teeth, and my understanding is that the council wanted it to have teeth. But I mean, I do understand Judge Keller's concern that it's going to take the city 6 years to collect this.
And how can we keep it from going, so long, too,
That's their problem, because they don't want to pick it up. It's in their hands then.
Well, and I mean, you could make it exponential. You could do, I mean, just go back to 500 just because that's an easy number, but like $500 for the first 30 days, then it jumps up an additional $1,000 for the next 30 days, so it's $1,500 total. Then it jumps up an additional like $2,500. So if you're out of compliance for 4 months, you're going to be at like $5,000. But if you're out of compliance for 30 days, you're going to be at $500.
I can see if, they have, like you say, they have a medical condition or something, they can't do it, or some reasoning.
Right, but if
call.
They got to call.
Communicate.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
I'm just sitting there thinking, of all the work you're having to do, the city's having to do, and all the notifications and all, what are we going to get back in return for this? Because some of these people, they set a payment plan, and they don't actually stop paying.
That's why we're going into we're signing a collection contract.
Okay.
I mean, we're going to be turning municipal court case. We're going to be turning. They're going to get when they miss a payment, they're going to get a 30-day letter, and they better get back into compliance. And if they are not back on track by the following month, it's getting turned over to collections. I mean, we're not going to. If we have that service available, there's no reason that we shouldn't mess around. You've been ordered to pay this. You're in contempt of court. Our options for contempt of court are send you to collections or put you in jail. I don't think there's a point for, hey, you owe us money, we're going to pay $55 a day, plus if something happens to you while you're in there, we have to pay your medical. I mean, I just don't think that's, all right. I don't think jail is the way to go.
And I totally do not think the judge should be able to do whatever she feels is fit, because that's slapping us in the face. It is. I mean, we need to set the fee, and maybe what we've got set is high right now, but we've got to set the fee to where it's going to put some teeth into it. And I was just looking at that, even if we went $25 a day at $750 for 30 days. And if they want to keep being out of compliance, then all of a sudden it's $1,500, and then it's $2,250, and it just keep going up. But we need to find something that everybody feels comfortable with, that puts some teeth to it.
Another option that you could have is to say for your first violation, it is $25 a day. For your second violation within 12 months, it is $50 a day. For your third violation within 12 months, it is $100 a day. So you're having that graduated.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're having these repeat offenders, we already enacted one thing to try and nip the repeat offenders. Having it go from $25 a day, which is $750 a month, to $3,000 a month is pretty significant.
Can I ask a question, and I don't know if it's proper to ask the question, but the repeat offenders, the offenders that you see, are the people that can get it done and just choose not to?
Yes.
Yeah. We've got one guy who's got 2 properties in town, and he's been a repeat for a long time, and it's time to start looking at their properties too.
Good idea. I mean, I think that's a good idea. Start at 25. Okay, repeat it again within a certain time frame. Go to 50. Yeah. Seems fair.
Good.
Seems stupid to me, but I'm looking at the backside of this, is that you're never going to collect that.
Yeah,
I
but
know we need to have teeth in it, but you're never going to collect that $7,000.
but if they know they're going to come to court and be fined, they're going to start cleaning up.
Well,
That's the big
And
thing.
we might collect it. I mean, we're entering into a collections contract. I mean, we very well may, whether that's through their own payment plan or whether that's through a collection agency, we very well may collect that $7,000. I will also say that we have had, I don't want to say surprisingly good luck, but surprisingly good luck on collecting fees. I mean, there's really only 2 instances, the out-of-state individual and the telephone incident. There's really only 2 cases that we would turn over to collections at this point. I don't know about that third individual from Nebraska. If he's popped back up, he has till June 1st. So.
It is sort of a double-edged sword. While I agree with you, I don't know if we'll ever collect all that in that particular case. I also agree with the fact that all you have to do is have that particular case talked around town one time, and boy, that's a major deterrent.
Yeah.
Plus,
Plus the people that have to live in those neighborhoods.
right.
They're the ones that are, if all 30 of these properties were all in one part of town and didn't affect everybody else through town, it's a little bit different. But when they're scattered all over town and they're devaluing other people's property, and so that's why we got to have teeth in it.
And let me ask one more question, sorry. But what do you do in the event that someone passes away and their property is dilapidating, and you have the little case of who's the new owner?
There is the ability for the city to abate the conditions, and it becomes a lien on the property.
That makes sense.
So where do we want to go with this? I think the 2550 and that route, start that way, sounds good. It's going to back off. We're going to have to call the other person in and reduce what he's been charged. But I think we still got to make it to where it hits them in the pocketbook a little bit.
You're talking 25 for 30 days, 50 for the next 30?
No, 25
First time. So he would have just been paying 25 for that whole amount of time.
Okay.
But if a year from now he starts collecting junk and starts in again, the next time it'll be $50 a day.
I see.
And if he does it 3 years from now, then it's $100 just to stop him from doing it. Because some of these people will repeat.
Yeah, yeah. We've seen that.
Is
Yeah.
this situation like a fixed income situation, or just,
No.
just doesn't care?
And the thing is that with this particular situation, like, even at, like, 3 to 5 hours would have taken care of the whole entire thing. I mean, you could have done this. There was one thing that probably needed 2 to 3 people to move. But other than that, the entire thing could have been rectified on a Saturday.
What I've been saying is, it's 70% being lazy. 30% of it is costing them something to do it. But it's 70% that they just don't care. They're lazy, don't want to do it. And so, I don't think it's fair to neighborhoods to have people that devaluating their property. And we've got several places, and it's got worse and worse the last 5 years, and we shouldn't have let it go this long, but it's time to try to help out these people that have properties around town.
Yeah, so
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
25 versus fence, and then 50 and 100.
So what's the parameters if they do 25 first fence and then they go 4 years without another fence? And they have another fence in 4 years, they start at 45 again? Is that what you're thinking?
Council.
Yeah, I guess maybe by 4 years they learned their lesson. They won't start in collecting stuff again, and
But it'd be the second offense on that property.
it would be the second
So,
offense. So really, in a lot of
it
ways,
should be.
we could just start the second offense at 50
Well,
miles.
the way it's worded currently is upon conviction, the offender. So it actually isn't her property.
Yeah, it'd be the person.
If I own 108 and 112, and 108 falls out of compliance and I get it back in, and then 112 falls out of compliance, 112 is now $50. I mean, the way that it currently stands is it is not per property, it is per offender.
Yeah.
So
I
is that agreeable?
Yes.
I mean, once you've been told your property needs to be cleaned up.
And that's owner, right? I mean,
It is owner.
so if your renter is,
Right. The owner
you need to get
The owner of the
the
property.
to take care of it.
The owner gets prosecuted.
Yeah, the owner gets the letters.
So,
Okay.
okay, so I will revise.
You got what's thinking of for 500 houses.
So I will revise the ordinance as far as fines goes for the next meeting. I will also let Judge Keller know that I spoke with council on this matter. They do not, the intent of council is to have what it is said. It is not to have judicial discretion, and that the council will be, has discussed amending the ordinance, and we will provide that to her as soon as it has been passed.
What do we do if the property owner that just got the fines and we need to notify?
I will be, once the ordinance is passed, I will file a motion to amend his sentence,
Okay.
and he will be provided notice that his sentence amount has been amended. I am not going to amend the payment schedule, because I think that,
Right.
I still think for that amount, I mean, we're still talking 3.5 years before we
Yes,
collect this.
yes. Right, I agree.
So,
Okay.
Sorry, guys, I talked for like an hour. I, believe it or not, have nothing further.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept and file the attorney report? Moved by Cale, second by Larry, all in favor? Great. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Am I needed for anything else?
I don't think so.
In the event Travis Jensen shows up, he can apply for a waiver of the permit for the being within 500 yards of a school, there needs to be public notice and a special meeting held. The special notice, or the notice should probably be, because of the nature of the ordinance, the notice should be published for 1 week. And I would recommend requiring that Mr. Jensen pay the publication cost for, if the council is going to consider a waiver. If you need to hold a special meeting, you can do it at 6:45 on Monday the 9th, or Monday not the 9th, that was this month. You can do it 15 minutes before the regularly scheduled city council meeting if you want to, but I would recommend that you need to publish it. And I would also recommend that if Mr. Jensen is requesting that waiver, that you collect the publication fee from him upfront.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Just in case he shows up after I'm gone.
About the storage container question, he wants to put a shipping container next door here temporarily while he's doing construction.
My advice on that is that if you are going to grant him a waiver, you need to put a deadline on it and explain that if he is 1 day past that deadline at 12:01 on that following day, he will be cited for violation of the ordinance. So, I'm not saying you need to grant him a waiver. You can deny that, but if you decide to, there needs to be a deadline, and it needs to be communicated that it will be enforced immediately following that deadline, because otherwise we're going to have a whole bunch of people.
Bad thing is, we've got one already on Main Street for, I don't know how many years. And it should have been gone a long time ago. A long time ago. After they got their building done, it was going to disappear. It's never disappeared.
Let's send a letter.
So, yeah, we need to think about that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Layla, I will be available, if something comes up and I am needed, I will be available on my cell phone. If you want to give me a call, I'll turn the ringer on and be available if I'm needed later in the day.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Did he run off before we got the visitors? Was he wanting to talk to us tonight, or just sitting in here?
Yeah, he wanted to ask us about the compost situation.
It's done.
Oh.
The county's not going to do anything, and we're not going to do anything, so. If they want to come and get it, they can.
They can come and get it if they want, or they can tell people that they can post flyers to bring it all the way out to their place if they want.
Yeah.
If they do come get it, do we still have to have a waiver?
Yeah, we need to have a waiver on the nitrogen or whatever it is in that. We'd have to have a waiver on it if they do come and get it. But they wanted the county to haul it out, to the county already said no.
Yeah.
And we don't have the equipment or people either. Both of us didn't have the, so, yeah. But they could still get the product. Okay, property cleanup. Oh. I don't keep very good notes. We have sent out, oh gosh, now I can't think of which ones they are. Okay.
These are the three that have not gone out yet. Oh, these are going out tomorrow.
Okay. And that one up there at Neighbor Warman, what's his name? That was going to Bankelman.
Yeah, Scott Sherman did one.
Okay. We sent a letter, cleanup deal, 519 East 3rd. It's not that much. Basically, the brush needs to be cleaned up, and the dirt work lowered 3 inches along the wall to keep the water from going over into the neighbors. That's a guy that owns that property in Bankelman.
Where's this list?
519
It's
East
probably not
3rd.
out there.
Oh.
This is just my list.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 519 East 3rd. So we sent that a letter. Did we get this one sent to her?
No, we don't have a good address.
We don't
for
have a
her.
good address for
I
her.
told Cody.
Okay.
Can you send us that list?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know that we can drive around and look at stuff?
423 South Quincy is another property. It's got mattresses that have been in that lean-to garage for years. So, but we can't find the right address to send it to. And we got 3 more that letters will be going out to, 2 probably tomorrow, or 419 East Washington and 423 East Washington are getting cleanup letters. And 421 South Denison will get a letter too, but I'm going to look at that just a little bit more. It was mainly for what was in the alley, but there's some other stuff in the property probably needs to be added to it so that we can do it all in one deal there. What else?
Send a letter to, they have till Wednesday to...
Oh, 206 West Jackson. Yeah. That's the one with the carport that's just loaded full of junk underneath it. And even all the way around the house, a hot tub that's been abandoned in the backyard and more toilets in the backyard, so that one was sent out too. Okay, I think that's on property cleanup. What did you have, Larry?
Well, I got a couple, dedications been expressing concerns about the property south of her.
Yeah, we're looking into that.
Okay. Because it keeps accumulating more and more stuff. She sent me some recent pictures of it.
Did we send him that letter?
No,
Yeah, we need to send him that letter.
I don't have pictures yet.
Okay.
The other thing I had, it's not really property cleanup, and I know we can't get into too much detail, but there's some concern about the trees that are growing in the drainage ditch just north of Western Option.
We've already discussed that one too.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I mean, there again, that's the state.
I realize that. I just was told her that I'd bring it up.
But
I realize that's part of the entire...
It's part of the whole picture, and we're just afraid to do anything because they're wanting us to do something.
Yeah.
They're wanting us to do something to say that we own it.
Okay.
But I don't know why they just don't take care of the problem themselves.
Just trees grow in the ditch?
In the ditch.
In the
Yeah.
drainage ditch.
Down in the drainage ditch. That is on, actually, that'd be on the easement of the state right away. So, yeah, I knew about both of those too. And so, and the guy is starting to haul a lot of stuff in out there, especially that trailer house and that.
Oh, you see it?
I'll get some pictures on that. Friday, Thursday.
So we can send that to KDOT?
Are they worried about water flow, or?
At some point it could cause an issue.
You know, if they get bigger and bigger. No, I'm not going to do anything on the trees, but the property behind her, because that's in the city limits.
I realize that. I just, all I said was I would bring it up.
An eyesore.
Yeah, and that's mainly weed eater.
Uh-huh.
But it's beginning to be an eyesore too.
What is it?
I will say that we can't do a property cleanup notice for weeds because we have a
Right.
whole entire different process for weeds.
One's going to be weeds, one will be property cleanup. I don't know, this is starting to be the weeds probably more than anything, but property's starting to lose some value there too. And that's what's going to really start popping now. Now we've been cooling a little bit of moisture. We get some heat, the weeds are going to be popping everywhere. So
So what
When we
happens?
were saying, property values, there's a lot of them putting a lot of work into those businesses up there on that highway, and so
So the process on the weeds has been in place for quite a while. We'll send weed letters out, but we will then go in there and mow and then assess that cost to their taxes. So it doesn't become a court case, it just gets on their taxes. Every time we have to go mow, yeah.
Anything else on property cleanups? I mean, there's several of them around town. One right over here by the grade school, that there's been an old Jeep sitting there for 40 years too.
Is McCoy's property in there on Jackson?
Not right now, but that's what I was saying, it needs to be put on there.
That roof flapping in the wind. Big chunk of metal going to fly off.
On Jackson?
Yeah, the one that he redid.
Repaired?
Yeah, that was professionally repaired. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Project pending. What do we have on that?
Amanda would like you guys to take a look at that quote. The last meeting, Dara and Amanda couldn't vote. Sewer Pond 2.
Sewer Pond 2.
Yeah, the capital S and the capital P.
The Pond 2 one.
42 EXT.
Is this an extra copy?
That's her.
Well, it's mine, but I'm going to, he asked that I send it to everybody, and I will.
And then possibly sewer pond, capital S, capital P.
I'll start sharing this before the council meetings.
It won't matter, I can't get it.
And how much was the grant was going to be $2,500, right?
These are for the signs on the pole.
Yeah, these are for the signs that are going up on the pole.
And then
Yeah,
there's the
that-
Christmas one.
That looks a lot better. Yes,
How much is it?
$5,282 was the total. They got a grant for $2,500, and we're talking about the rest of this coming out of that bed tax. And so we just need a motion to go ahead and approve this, because the three of us at the last meeting, two of them were on this committee, so it's a little hard to do this one, so.
So moved.
Been moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Approved.
Action.
Okay. Approved. So we'll be taking out the rest of that out of the bed tax.
And setting up a meeting to talk with Peter Law Firm about the crossovers. Amanda said June 1st, 2nd, or 9th would work for her.
What's that on? Okay, first will be,
Wednesday.
Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
No. The 9th, I think, is the
Ninth
next.
will be the next, okay. So,
I'm going to 9. I can.
next Wednesday or Thursday, first or second, or the 9th?
First is a Wednesday?
First is next Wednesday.
That works.
Yep, that works.
Okay.
First or second works for me.
I think either one would work for me, as far as I know.
First works for you? Next Wednesday?
Wednesday night, probably. Well, I don't know what time it'll be for sure, but
Well, and he's coming all the way from Hayes, and so
Right.
Amanda thought as early as possible for him.
so maybe we could Larry would be probably the one to be a little trouble there.
Let's see what time it gets set up and we'll see what I can do.
Okay. So,
This is critical.
it is very critical. We need to have him get after it now.
You can find out where we're at, and
Yeah.
what our options are.
Yeah. So hopefully maybe he could be, I don't know what time it'd be, 5 or 6, I don't know, but we need to make it so everybody else, it works for them too, so. But as long as we don't go too late, Larry,
Your list?
Five.
Larry, do you think you possibly?
What day?
but that's 4 o'clock.
First, Wednesday.
I'll have to make some arrangements for it, I can say it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because that's 4 o'clock, the good ones, so it'd be 3:30.
But even if,
Get it set, I'll see what I can come up with.
Will he be here or is he calling?
He's coming here.
Or what if he?
Yeah, we need to see him face to face, I think. So, and even if we could set it up at 6, that's still 5 for Larry to get home or get back. If we could set it at 6, I would think in an hour's time we'd be done with what we need to do. And that gives him plenty of time to head home. Let's see if 6 o'clock will work best for him. That gives Larry a little better
I
leeway.
could probably swing that pretty easy.
Because I think
Let me know if that changes.
we all need to be here.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on Project Pending?
And we need to kind of stay after the theater thing, or, we talked, we don't have full council again, but I'm gone next time, so next meeting.
Well, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think we just go after doing what we can with this theater down here. And if it's a $200,000 upgrade for that, I don't see how we can come up with $400,000.
800 for
Well, it's 800 for a new building, but Robert said he thought we could get a grant for 400. How do we even come up with the other 400?
I know.
I think it's a stress
Oh, we got
to
screwed.
get that
Yeah.
grant.
And I do too. So I think and there are more people saying, you leave it right where it's at. I've heard all kinds of people saying, and even the comment I made down there about leaving the artwork on there, well, it's copyright. Okay, it's been there for 30 years and they haven't told us to paint it yet. We should leave it there until they tell us we have to paint over it.
Unless they have to tear something out for electrical.
Right.
But otherwise,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
So I think they do what they're talking about, was it drop ceilings. To me, the biggest obstacle there, and yeah, the ramps aren't handicap accessible, but we're kind of grandfathered in for that. Somebody's going to help them get pushed up to those flat spots where they can sit and back out. And yeah, the bathrooms aren't the best in the world, but if we can update them a little bit and do a little update here and there and stuff, I just think we got to stay
Sure,
right
we
where
would
we're at.
have money to make at least one bathroom 88 foot wide, correct?
I don't know. There's just too much. It's
space.
too tight.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to look at what you guys discussed at the special meeting and stuff, but is there any limitations, anything that could hold the whole thing up?
I don't think so. To me, the worst thing was
And then the bricks in the back.
the bricks in the back needed, but that was part of the
Uh-huh.
renovate.
And the electrical and the ceiling tiles are falling. And
So would there be grant funding available for part of the cost?
yeah, that's what they kind of indicated, is maybe half and half.
But we don't,
We
I
haven't-
keep
we don't
saying
know
that.
that.
We don't know that. We'd
We
have
don't
to
know
apply.
that. We have to apply.
Hanson would be the source.
The direct.
Direct to Hanson, like they did for the pool.
Community organization.
But then on
And it's on
top,
the strategic doing, for the
True.
county, or for,
It is?
Mhm.
and actually on this note that Robert had, it's $870,000 for a new one, and that's not even having any property. So I asked him where he put it. Oh, down there where the old Elm Motel is. That's not a good place. Then you're on the other side where it'll be freezing on that side of the street when they go to the movie, and you're going to have steps to get up there because it already has steps, and so that's not a good location. Well, up on the highway. I don't want it up on the highway.
No. It's part of the downtown.
It is part of the downtown. And he was pushing because I knew you'd have a better lobby, better bathroom, longer lifespan. Well, yeah, you would. Better concession area, easier cleaning and maintenance, improved egress, lower operating costs, safer HVAC, better acoustics, better space, better emergency exit. That's probably the worst thing down there is a back exit, how to get out of there. But I still think we can go in there and knock a wall and head to the east, right behind the museum, because the museum's not going to add on that last 8 feet to the alley. So you could come out there and then have something that would step down and go out instead of what they have now. I mean, it's a big step off of there. Put in better lighting back there for that stuff. But I think that's what Robert was wanting to know is, are we going to move forward on the old or new?
When do they meet again?
They'll meet the first Monday of June. But with streets and electrical and all that.
It's a great project, and I think it needs to be kept.
Yeah.
But we've got to not lose our focus on the important things of the infrastructure, too. I tend to agree with Scott. I think you go with what you got, and you do the best you can. Okay.
You can do a lot of grant remodeling in there.
Are you volunteering? Are you volunteering?
Not for the grant work I have to do, so I've already painted most of those bathrooms.
Have you?
I volunteered in there a lot back in 89 and 90 with Jerry Rank, and we showed the first movie in there when we opened it up, Edward Scissorhands. At the girls, when they graduated in 91.
But what's kind of sad is there's still a space that you can't use. I mean, like back behind the screen, there's simple dressing rooms that,
Well, there's a lot of stuff back there.
And like the upstairs above the lobby even, and the...
Yeah. There's some
built
issues
weird.
with it, but then also...
Part of the character.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do plays down there before the screen was put up.
When the ranks were around here, and when Dr. Cram and Bonnie were still... there was a lot of people that just loved doing that stuff. And that's why that stage area was built, and they put on plays there, and they did. It was good. It was good. It was good. And Dara and Scott were in them. I mean, there are a lot of people that got involved in that, and it was good. But it seems like nobody's pushing that anymore, so it's not happening. And but we could still use that space for those things. So I think the biggest thing, we just need to let the ADA board know that we're leaning toward sticking with the old building. On that, anyway. So.
You're being a trooper, aren't you? Just hanging on.
He said he wanted to just come and listen to everything that's going on. I thought we were going to be strung out longer than this already.
We're not done yet. I have to call Tyler and Justine.
Any more on projects pending? Okay, well, let's move on to the streets project.
So I'm getting ready to call Tyler here. He would like to talk to you guys about the change order. You're not able to see it. I've got 4 copies here that the mayor will need to sign, but I'll pass some of them down so you guys can see them. I have to share.
Yeah, I can see mine.
You can see yours? Okay. So he wanted to talk to you about this change order since JR is not here to discuss why it's as much as it is.
And this is on the...
This is on the current street project. So all these documents that we're doing next, just to let you know, there's this change order for McCormick for some extra work they had to do. After that is the application that McCormick submitted or that Miller & Associates submitted to pay McCormick their final payment. which is payment number 4, and that's here. I'll pass these around too. Just make sure I get them back, because these are 4 originals that the mayor will need to sign. And then after that, we're going to have a drawdown request. I only have 1 copy of that, but this is, we'll get Justine on the phone for that one, and that's the final drawdown. The question that I asked her, and I'll just let you guys know, there are almost $20,000 of CDBG funds remaining that we will not get, and I asked her why. And it's a percentage that's split between the CDBG and local funds, and because our bid came in lower than it was anticipated, we're not going to get the entire $600,000. So, just so you know, I'd be happy to pass this down, but I need it back before I call Justine. And then the last thing will be, there's a certificate of substantial completion that the mayor will need to sign, 4 copies of that. I can pass these around too, just to make sure I get them back. And the final thing will be for the New Street project, the approval of the environmental review. Okay. You ready? And I'll call Tyler. Tyler, this is Lila.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
So I guess we've got copies of everything here, so we'll let you talk about the change orders and everything.
Okay. I'll start with the change order number 5. Should be a 2-pager. That kind of gives us an overall view of the differences in the project, the unders and overs. The final change order was kind of just balancing quantities, extra curb and gutter, extra asphalt, extra sidewalk, less excavation, that kind of thing. You can see under the difference column, those are negative we're under, positive we're over. If you go down to item number 8, the concrete sidewalk. That was a big one we were over, doing some extra sidewalk work. We were $10,557 over on sidewalk. And the other big one that kind of caught us was remove and replace curb and gutter section, number 13. We did an extra 470 feet of curb and gutter, and that ended up being about $26,000. And I talked to the guy on site this afternoon that was on site, and they kind of went through, for the gutter, they kind of went through with JR, and if they were working in an area that had some more bad curb, they kind of just went ahead and replaced the curb. So I kind of that's where we ended up with so much extra, they kind of went through and replaced some more bad sections. Otherwise, besides the sidewalk and curb and gutter, everything else pretty well balanced out. We ended up with a net increase of $34,000. Like I said, that was a $10,000 sidewalk and the $26,000 curb and gutter were the main big ones.
And that's on
the asphalt. Go ahead.
That's on the current project that was just completed?
Correct. The other big one was the asphalt. We had some extra asphalt. I believe it was, I don't want to tell you wrong, I think it was Denison Street. I've been Francis. I didn't have my right notes with me at home, but we had told out to mill and overlay 2 blocks. The existing asphalt turned out to be in very poor quality than we thought. So everything was falling through, so we had to end up doing a full thickness replacement of those 2 blocks. So we ended up with some more asphalt. So that's kind of the change order. The certificate of substantial completion is really just the final quantities of the project. It just takes that final change order and just kind of 100% out all the quantities to make the paperwork simpler. There's nothing really special about that. And then this final pay request is the third one. The original contract price was $1,167,000. Total change orders, including the last one, we had some crushed concrete before. We did some extra work on the south end of Parkway on the drainage flume. So total change orders was $49,000. That gave us to a current contract price of $1,216,334. For changes down to zero, everything is complete, everything is pulled out, everything's finished. Opened, so the total amount due, the remainder on the project due is $225,050.58. Do you guys have any questions or comments on any of the extra work or change order or the numbers I can help you with?
Do you know where most of the extra curb and gutter was at?
Yeah, I believe I talked to Randy. He was our guy on site. He didn't have his notes with him this afternoon, but I believe most of it, I want to say it was on Benton Street, kind of north of downtown, if I remember right.
So.
A lot of the sidewalk, I think, was around a lot of the trees that we had taken out had needed a lot more sidewalk, and just as a safety issue, we thought we should replace it to eliminate all the widths in the sidewalk and make everything ADA.
There in the mortuary. I'll bet. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I remember JR talking about some of that stuff there by the grocery store that had to do some extra work there to make that work right.
Yeah, like I said, it's not like, I hate coming over on a project like that, but I think most of our additions, I think, were for the greater good to get stuff fixed while they're working. This next phase that we're getting ready that was awarded, that we're getting ready to survey and design, the sections that we had chose when I went through it with JR, there is very little curb and gutter work required. I think most of our sections that we picked the curb and gutter is in very good shape. So this next phase won't have near as many items or curb and gutter or driveways or valley gutters as this one did. It'd be more just mainly a paving project.
Yeah.
Time frame for the next phase, I got the survey request in, so I'm hoping within this next month or two we'll get the survey crew down there and get things surveyed and we can get it designed and wrote up, and I can come visit you guys this fall. We can get out for bid this fall for next spring, summer construction.
Okay. Cool. Sounds good. Any further questions for Tyler?
Thanks, Tyler.
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.
Okay, let's start with the change order. I need 4 copies. I'm missing 2 change orders.
And back to these copies.
Is there tree removal we need to do? For the minute? No? None?
Change order.
Not at all.
I think this one's pretty straightforward.
Change order.
Okay. So I'll do the first one, and then I need the application for payment. 2, 3, 4, okay. And then the certificate. Okay, so I'm going to need to ask for a motion for the change order.
Motion to order number 5, been moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Derek, all in favor? Approved.
4 of them there.
That's not bad. No.
Well, I mean, it looks like we got a pretty good project out of everything. When they came in and started turning out curbs and trees and stuff, I thought, wow, this is going to be a project. But it seemed like they went through that a lot better than I thought it was gonna happen. And you're always gonna be running into something. Okay, what's the next one? The application for payment, number 4 for what, $225,050.58. Need a moved by Dara, second by Cale. All in favor? Approved.
And this is kind of out of order, but the last thing is the certificate of substantial completion.
You just need approval to accept that.
Yeah, I just need a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Moved by Larry,
Second.
second by David. All in favor? Approved. Keep writing it, it looks sloppier all the time.
Signature on the last page of these. I'll call Justine, and she will talk about this last drawdown, and she will talk about probably how everything is split out. We're paying, just so you guys know, we're paying $3,000 to Northwest Kansas Planning and Development. There's some to Miller and Associates, and then the amount that you just approved for McCormick, and that's all part of the drawdown. Okay?
Okay.
I will call Justine. And I don't have multiple copies of that, but I can sure pass this around. You guys want to see it. We have to figure out our network.
Hello.
Hi, Justine. This is Lila.
Hi.
Got the council
How are
here.
you guys?
We're good.
Long meeting already, huh?
Yeah. Sorry, we're calling late.
That's okay. I will be back.
So they've got the drawdown, Justine, and we've kind of just talked about it briefly about what's on it, so I'll let you take the lead there.
Okay. 1 second. Sorry. Let me grab my computer here. Okay. So this is the final construction drawdown. We're requesting $108,523.27. We have to split that. Lila mentioned there are still some grant funds left. Unfortunately, we have to split that with the prorated amount that we said we were going to do in the original application. So that means CDBG would be 42% and the city is 58%. I did change those numbers so I got the maximum grant, but unfortunately we can't go over that. So tonight we just need a motion to approve drawdown number 4 in the amount of $108,523.27.
And we need to vote.
Okay, it's been moved by David. Second by Cale. We need to vote. David?
Yes.
Cale?
Yes.
Dara? Larry?
Yes.
Okay, passed.
Okay. And then, Justine, we've got your environmental review.
Okay.
So this is for our the next phase of the street project. This is project number 22-PS-012. We had to do this on the first street project too. I had to contact agencies making sure that our project is not going to affect the environment in any negative ways. Unfortunately, you have one street that's in the floodplain, so we had to do an 8-step floodplain. It's a lot of work to basically say there are no other alternatives. We have to do this street because there's no other street to do, to get around that. So I had to publish something in the newspaper, an early public notice saying that we are going to do the project. Then after a certain amount of time, I had to publish a notice of explanation just saying why we're going to do it. There's no other way we can get this street replaced except doing it where the street lies. After that, we just have to get this environmental review approved by council. When that's approved, there will be a notice posted in the city council hall there. That has to be posted for 10 days. Once that's done, the mayor can sign the clearance, and then I can send it off to the state. They have a 15-day waiting period, and then we'll get a release of funds. So it's a lengthy process. Probably no one is there to question why you are doing this certain street in the floodplain. Probably no one's going to come in and question when that sign's posted. And the state, you're not going to have any comment periods either, but we have to jump through these hoops to get the grant funds. So that was a pretty short explanation on what I have. Does council have any questions of the environmental review or the process?
So we need to wait for the mayor to sign what you sent me until after the 10 days?
Nope, he can sign that today. I will send you that later. So I didn't send it to you. I just didn't want to get confused. There's so much paperwork, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do we hear a motion to approve this?
So,
And,
Let me say it like that.
okay. Yeah, approve the
With a yawn.
environmental review for the street project, number 22-PF-012.
so,
Been moved by Cale, second by Dara. We need a,
yes.
Cale, Dara,
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Okay, pass.
Okay, and that's all I have for you guys tonight. Do you have any questions for me?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
will have the state out there on June 1st to do a final monitoring. She's just going to look at the paperwork, go look at the street project, and then I will have a closeout. I will come out, close it out, and we will be done with the first phase of your project. So,
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
all right. Thank you so much for calling me. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
No, I did it right.
Bye.
This one has date, is it? Oh, wait a minute, underneath there.
What's it say?
Okay.
Oh, much paper.
Okay. Then they'll do this in 23, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, the 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of everything there. Okay. No visitors unless you need something, you're just listening, you said you was gonna come. Okay. Okay.
Any problems or concerns?
We're hatching them out as we go, aren't we?
Pretty much.
Building permits we've looked at. There's 2 of them, or wait a minute. 3 of them, and they are the ones that are First Christian Church, and that one is a really tough one. But we think we figured out how to make that work for them, and so Dan and I looked at it the other day, and they're trying to pour around that one tree again. They don't want to take the tree out yet. Eventually, someday, that tree's going to have to come out, but they didn't want to. And that's at First Christian Church, and then Kelly. I don't know. What is his last name? Greebens?
Oh, you looked at
I
it?
was actually able to see those.
Okay.
I can't figure it out. But his is all fences, and that's going to be all perfectly fine up there. And Greg Walls is going to do some replace concrete, and that's good to go on there in the alley at his place. And I think also you had that, down there on Spencer Street, did we ever okay that on, where that Tisha and her husband, the modular going in there? That should be
It was
okay.
pending
Yeah.
JR's approval, and we can't find the original building permit. That was one that I was hoping you could find.
Okay.
Hmm.
Look real hard, but I'll again, but I didn't see anything else down there.
But that one has already been approved by the council, but
Yeah, okay, it looks fine.
Yeah.
Randy Meestead, did he had a permit in too, that,
Yeah, we got that.
Mhm.
okay, that one's good to go. I saw that the other day.
oh, that one's the one you brought in today.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
And what else was there we looked at? I guess that's it on, and the chicken permit. The
Okay.
chicken permit is, I guess let's see if we can get do we get a okay on the building permits?
So moved.
Been moved by Larry.
Second.
Second by Cale, all in favor? Approved. Okay. The chicken permit, it is, we're going to approve it once they put up a fence. And so we talked to them today. It should work out fine, but they're going to go ahead and put a fence up there to kind of conceal it a little bit. It's actually in their lot that they own now, next to their house, and they tore down the house. And there is an old chicken coop back there already. So they've already got their chicken coop that's been there since the 40s probably. But the chickens are kind of visible from Front Street, looking down through there and so forth. And they said they would put up the fence. So we're going to approve that one we'll just have to check that out a little bit later to make sure they got up the fence. They do have too many chickens in there, but they knew that and they were going to be getting rid of them, the rest of them. What they do, got 12 chickens and they told them they'd lose half of them. They saved every one of them. So now they're trying to unload the chickens.
It's Cody Workman.
Yeah, Cody Workman's there.
Do you want to go ahead and have them make a motion to approve it pending this, or wait till they get it done and bring it back?
I think we could go ahead and make a motion. They acted like they were going to get some fence up, so we'll just have to check on it. So if you want to okay the chicken permit, your motion?
So pending.
Moved by Cale, pending the fence work.
Second.
Second by Larry, all in favor? Approved. Okay, superintendent report, what do I have? Well, a couple things that have upset me. The dividers at the roadside park are still not in on the stalls up there. I've talked to Ed twice now. I talked to him again this morning. He said, yeah, I know. He said, every time I think I'm going to go up there, I'm going to get up there, and then something blows up, and I have to go work on other stuff. I don't know. I think we've paid him for this.
Mm-hmm.
A year, well, how long ago? 2?
And there's what we paid him for that, and then the labor was, yeah, it's been 2 years almost. This is for the CARES Act funds that we got from the county.
Ed Marin, Harlan.
Yeah. What are they requesting?
They're not requesting
They're not
anything.
requesting
We
anything, but we
benefit.
paid this, and this was all in that COVID
Oh,
stuff. And when that was paid a couple years ago, and this should be done because,
oh, I don't know why I thought you were talking about the advocacy center. For a second. I thought I heard you say something about it.
but those dividers, and I don't know, I think Ed's just so overwhelmed. So I don't know, I mean, I have no problem with visiting with him and saying, we'll find somebody to put the dividers up, but he's going to have to pay their labor. And somebody might charge more than what he figured to put them up, I don't know. But we've got to get something done.
The way the rates increase, I guarantee it'll be more.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's got broke down.
I think that labor was for the whole project.
Okay, so.
Bottom line, we need it done by, are you gonna give him a window where it needs to be done if he's gonna do it, or where to do someone else?
Well, we gotta do something, because, yeah, it looks like it's around almost $900 labor, which I would guess it probably would be that much. Well, I went in there 2 weeks ago and I said I'd like to have it done by Memorial Weekend. This morning I said, well, where are we going to have it done? He said, no. So, what do you guys think? He's had the petitions for 2 years.
Can't hurt to ask him if he's opposed to contracting it out.
Can we have a new contractor charge him, or do we get our money back?
Well, that's the trouble. If we ask another contractor to do it, he might say, I mean, it looks like he's talking about $864 putting up those, and a new contractor might come in and say, well, I'm going to be charging you $1,200.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, who's going to make that difference up? Because it should be Ed, not us. And here we are getting into the tourist season and people stopping up there and stuff.
How many dividers is there?
18, so they're more than just up there. I think there's some over here.
Yeah, I think
Do
it's
you know?
18 total, yeah. There's some up there and some over here.
And probably up at the other roadside park too. I haven't been in that bathroom.
I don't remember if we got some for that one. You know, I didn't go in that one.
Which one?
Up along the highway. I know we did it roadside, but the one right out by the highway, I don't remember if I don't know what we did there. I know we did over here because there's never been anything over here. So,
Somebody would need to figure out where 18 partitions go.
Unfortunately, the only way I'll get it done is give a window, a definite window. It's got to be done by this time or. Don't you agree?
yeah, I mean, we've got to,
Are we,
Or it was kind of grant funding.
Yeah.
You know, that we could, I mean.
well, this was
We
a
need-
grant, this is COVID money. and
COVID
They
money.
could come back
I mean,
and nail
yeah,
us for
say, I know, that
Take
we
it
have it
back.
all done.
that, if they wanted
Yeah.
to. The chances of them come here are slim, but.
But we're accountable for
Mhm.
that money.
What's everybody's thoughts on that?
I guess talk to Ed about subbing
Okay.
it out or something.
Well, okay, if we give him a time frame, what's the time frame to have it done by, or else we're going to, I guess
I'd give them 4 weeks. Because we've given them 2 years already.
I think 4 weeks is too long.
Too long?
Yeah, because people are gonna start coming through.
Well,
As soon as May's
supposed to
over at the June is gonna be people coming through and go, I don't like to use the stools up there or the showers because there's no doors on it.
but the other issue is, would you even be able to find anybody else that could do it?
It might be tough.
I agree with you. I think we need to put a time frame on it.
All the way through. And we all like this gentleman, so it's not like we want to,
No.
but at the same time, it's got to get done.
Yeah. There's another thing we'll talk about on too, that I had a heck of a time getting. Did he get it up here? Talked to him this morning. Robert told us about the AC unit, oh gosh, a week and a half ago at the theater. And actually it's been out for a long time. It's a heat and AC unit. Luckily, it hasn't been cold enough that they was able to get by with one unit. but if it gets really hot, one AC unit's not gonna cool the place down. And so basically it was giving Robert the okay to get something ordered, but Ed needed to give us a price so we could okay it tonight. So this morning I asked him if they had a price, and he said, yeah. I said, well, just get it emailed up here to the city office.
I called up there about 4:30 to see, and I talked to Hody.
I was gonna
actually.
say, because Greg's gone,
Yeah,
so you probably, yeah, he
and
was
I don't
watching
think
the store.
Hody knew
Mhm.
anything about it, so.
So,
So I don't know. And we don't know how much that bill's gonna be on that AC, but we need to get it ordered and get it going too. He said that he had it figured up what it was gonna be.
Because now you got one AC working twice as hard.
Oh, yeah, and it might not even work good enough if it gets hot.
Right.
It's supposed to be 100 degrees Friday.
text or go call
If
Hody
it's
to
hot
see
there
if we
when that new
can,
Top Gun movie
if
comes out,
Ed
I'm gonna
will
be back.
send it. I mean,
Yeah.
Or just
And
even
it's
give
gonna be
us a
hot this
verbal.
next
Yeah.
Well, that
during
new Top
that.
Gun movie comes in, but if it's hot and they're dead, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to that movie for 2
She's gonna
years.
call Hody.
Maybe we say 2 weeks
See if he knows what the,
and either sub it out and pay for it, or just refund the labor and find somebody else.
but the trouble is,
You know, I know.
if somebody charges us more than what he was going to, he needs to make it up,
Yeah.
not us.
Legally though, can we hold him to that?
Yep,
Okay.
yes.
Tough time of the year for him to.
Well, yeah, everybody's gonna be hollering, they've got ACs going, but he had all winter long, and I don't know why I thought about that I don't know, when I come in here about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, well, found something else that's making me upset, and Lila already knew about it. Probably the guys had said something, I don't know, but I thought, gee, many crickets, all winter long could have got those put in. Okay, I will go talk to him. I don't think we give him.
You get a 10-day bill, you got, usually when I send a bill out, you get 10 days paid. So, you do 10 days, you do 14 days.
Yeah, I don't know. Today's the 23rd, so if we'd say by June 20th, that is almost a month.
That's alumni weekend,
Yeah, that's right.
so we better.
Maybe we should say we'd like to have it done by alumni weekend, especially the ones right over here, because, gosh, the women hate that to go in there, and there's no door there.
This one and then the roadside at a minimum,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
isn't there others somewhere?
Well, I'm not sure if there's any by the highway. I don't remember what we did up there.
I can't imagine 18 of them.
Well,
Well,
over
there's
here,
4, 5, 6 over there.
Sure.
There's just 4 places.
Oh.
and
Well, there
then
might be 4. They're up there. There'd be
Okay.
1, 2,
All right.
Yeah,
3,
sure.
4, 5.
Okay.
okay,
There's
let me
probably
tell
10
him.
up at the roadside park.
Here, okay. He said it'd be just under 5,000. Do you need to know who it's through, or here?
Who is that?
It's Ed.
Hello, Ed. Yes. So, what is the total number on that? Okay. Okay, that's what we needed to know, so we could get that okay, so we could get it ordered and coming in and stuff, so. I guess while we got you on the line, we're discussing the dividers up there with alumni coming this, on the 18th, and, of course, some of those go up here by the city park, and then the rest of them up the roadside park. Do you think there's a possibility of having it done by the 18th. Yes. Okay. 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 Okay, well, if you think you can do that, we were just discussing that too. And so if you can get those done by the 18th, we'd appreciate it. And to get this all cleared up on our books too, so. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, he said he's going to try to get them done by the 18th. I'll check in with him in a week or so and see.
Lila, you are hilarious.
My facial expressions?
Okay.
So we vote on that total without an invoice or a bid? Will it just be verbal?
Well, he said they're not sure what the freight's going to be because the freight is just jumping all over the boards, which we all know with the trucking. But he said right now what they figured up is a little under 5,000, and they're not quite sure what the freight will be.
So why don't can we just move it up to, let's say, 6, just in case?
No, I don't think you'd have to go that high. Surely,
Well,
surely 5,500 would be plenty good enough.
Yeah, you would think. But you never know.
But that's a whole new compressor and everything on that roof up there and stuff. And of course, then that's a trick getting that up there. I don't remember how they did that the last time. Did they get?
And does that include all the labor?
Yeah, I think that was the labor and all, because that's what we was trying to find out was the labor and the compressor. But he must have that figured in there, how he's getting it up there, because it's be heavy. So we probably need to get somewhat of a motion to approve that, and so we can say get it ordered, because it'll be July before it's put in. Time he gets it put up there.
We'll say up to 5,500.
I would think so. If he said what they figured up so far is up around 5,000, he said it's a little under 5,000, but they don't know what the freight would be.
I'd move on that.
$5,500. Okay. Do I hear a second?
Yeah.
Second by Cale. All in favor? Approved. Okay. Okay. Where were we? Oh, yeah, there was actually 4 trash issues last week. She was talking about the one. One of them was a guy caught me and really chewed me out. Well, I think he even kind of got Amanda too. Well, we found out that his container was against the garage, and that's why they were not picking it up for 4 or 5 weeks. Well, that's where they put it. Well, that's not where they probably put it, because they can't set it down. But anyway, we think we got that all resolved with him. Another one was calling in, wanted our container, and we kind of thought, well, why does she need our container? She's a single lady. Well, because you're not going to recycle anymore. We're thinking, you're not going to have that much recycling stuff. Well, it ended up being that possibly her sister, who lives out in the country, would like to bring her trash to town. I said, no, we're not starting that. But then I heard today about somebody else that brought trash to town and dumped it off. We're going to have issues with that. And on top of that, the roadside park again.
That's going to be one of my questions.
The roadside park, last Monday, every container up there was filled and falling out of there. People are coming in on the weekends and just throwing stuff in there, just piling it up. And it's just terrible. It's unreal how much stuff's coming in up there. I think it's time that we probably look into more cameras
Yep.
and just place them different places. We're not going to tell them where they are. I mean, even if it's just trail cameras, whatever, we need to have trail cameras, place them around. We caught the people that were putting the grass clippings on North Street, and then we caught them doing something else up at the roadside. So they have gotten 2 warnings. First one was a kind of verbal. The second one was a written warning. Third time's going to be a ticket. But it's too bad we've come to this, that we got to have cameras everywhere. Even people are starting to talk that they're buying cameras and putting them up around their properties.
Yeah.
Could I, on the issue that was brought up earlier about the woman wanting to sue everyone, I understand that that's way over the top. I understand who we're dealing with. But the question is, do we have 4 or 5 legitimate, because I don't want to ask her age, but I would think we would all classify as elderly. Do we have 4 or 5 elderly people who are legitimate, we can see it could be a struggle for them, or is that not even the case?
Well, you got to start counting anybody over 70.
Yeah, I know. And then, yeah.
Me.
And so,
you know, why can't her son come to town and make sure it's in the right place? I know, but really, you know, most people or a neighbor would say, hey, I'll come over and I'll make sure your trash is in the right place.
I think it's a matter of you make a phone call, can you help me now?
Yeah.
And it's been offered.
Yeah.
which would have been a whole lot easier than the spectacle that's been made up here.
She was in.
So, okay, that's what I want to know.
But she won't ask for help. She won't let anybody help her. She told me that. She's not going to ask anybody to help her.
Unless it's the trash driver.
That's their job, she said.
No, I don't know where we go with that. And but anyway, there's several of those things last week.
Did we get the new trash cans for the Main Street yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
They've been back ordered. I did get an email.
Oh, okay.
And the grass clippings and the limbs that were being dumped and we caught and we made them move.
Yeah.
Oh, they caught the people on dumping on North Street?
Here's can I make one suggestion next time? Will we catch them on film doing what they did at the recycling place? Do we make them go back up and clean it up instead of...
We should have. Yeah, we should have. Okay, next thing. I didn't see, Brock never showed up today at the pool, did he? Called me last Thursday, I was in Denver. Wanted to go look at it, and I said, well, I'm going to try to run back home and be around Sunday and Monday, and then I got to go back to Denver. And so I thought maybe he'd call me today to look at it, because he was going to try to get on it this week. So I haven't seen anything of Brock on the pool.
That answers my question.
I did talk to Chris today, and he said he didn't measure that, so maybe they're going to go full agreement.
Maybe they'll start tomorrow.
Which part of the pool?
It's that little area that's all dirt between there that we've been after.
And doing that retaining wall.
Yeah.
Is that the steps too?
No.
Oh, I thought they were going to do those.
No, just that up there on the highway. No, Wendy's going to do the other.
Okay.
Okay, trees at the park. The class of 68 wants. We found a spot for the tree. There was not a dead tree there. The guys jumped right on it. They've already cut it off. It still needs some more stuff to do to it before we can put grass back in there and stuff. But the class knows where they can plant a tree up there. While I was up there, we got 6 trees for sure that need trimmed bad. All kinds of dead branches. All kinds. In fact, probably 2 trees really need to be taken out. But I thought, well, if we could get them trimmed really good now, we could see how they turn out. I think 4 of the 6 will turn out all right, but the other 2 might not.
So how do you get somebody up there to do it?
I called that SCR guy, and he's got that little telehandler deal that he can probably go in there and do that with. That's from Goodland.
Without tearing the grass up?
Yeah. He's got that light. It's not a truck. It's a, I don't know, does that run on batteries or what's that run on?
It's gas.
Is it gas? Okay. I don't know how.
You're gonna have to plywood still.
Yeah, he still might have to put some stuff down. So I got a hold of him today. He's going to be over tomorrow to look at the trees.
Good.
And see what he could do. And I asked him if he could possibly have it done before alumni weekend. He said if I find help, like everybody else.
Can we get that one tree along the highway that's kind of in front of
Yeah,
the
we've already
bathroom
talked about that.
Either chop it down. or-
We've already taken out the evergreen. Are you guys going to still try to handle that?
Oh, okay.
It's in the plains.
Okay.
It's kind of up there by
By
the
the
new
memorial.
memorial. And
Right by the right by the
It's
highway
by the
on the
highway.
median, not the median.
it's
We took out the
pretty
big
sad.
evergreen, and then we still got some work there to do yet too. But then there's another tree sitting over there that's very little life in it. Needs to come down. But the guys thought they could get it knocked down, so. Okay. Oh, there is a spot at the at the park too that didn't get poured back the cement, but I guess Justin's going to take care of that. I think that's all I've got down through there, this list here. So
Where did we end with the seats at the park?
the inside.
Did we ever find anyone that was gonna?
Well, Greg Kite was always going to work on that and get back to us. Never did, so I don't think he's found anybody to do it either.
Daddy's had time to really dig into it.
It's just another year to get worse.
Well, that goes back to the issue of, do you want to keep it in the historical registry or not?
Yeah.
Because that is huge compared what it could actually cost.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And for the benefits of being in it or not being in it, I guess I've kind of got a one-sided view on it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some things I'm not aware of.
I think we're going to have problems either way. Whether Greg could find somebody or if we could ever find somebody, it's going to take somebody very talented to put that in right. Yeah. And there's none of those people left anymore.
How many small towns I know, it's open for people like that.
You need the old guy that did the old plaster work, and those guys are gone. They're gone. No. I'll see if Greg Kite has ever even found anybody, because we need to find somebody that can do that kind of work, whether we keep it on the registry or not. Okay. I think that's all I've got. I probably forgot to write down something or wrote it down twice. I don't know. So, I guess want to accept and file the superintendent report.
Second, third.
Third, fourth, fifth, second.
Moved by Larry, second by David. All in favor?
Me.
Approved. Attorney report we've already done. So clerk report.
First thing I've got is Ward Electric. They sent an email. They're going to be bringing equipment on May 25th, or Wednesday. One of the guys is going to be on site Thursday, May 26th, to go over the workload, I would assume with Dan and probably the mayor. And the crews plan to begin construction on May 31st. Did I get that all right, Dan? And then the next thing I have is this afternoon, Riverside brought in their application for the alcohol temporary permit for alumni. And it is here, if you want to just pass it around. Nothing's different than in years past. So we would just need a motion to approve that and a motion to approve the resolution that we need to pass in order for them to serve alcohol on city streets. And that is resolution number 2022-2.
So the first one, we need to just make a motion to allow them to be at the city park
Yeah, to
for
approve the
alumni,
temporary permit.
the temporary permit.
So move.
And they pay the fee.
So, yes, they will need to, pending,
Insurance.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like you've been through this before.
Pending insurance and fee.
Okay. Moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Larry. All in favor? Approved.
And then the
Then we-
ordinance.
Ordinance.
Read that.
Okay. The resolution of the City of St. Francis, Kansas, approving a temporary permit allowing for the consumption of alcoholic liquor on city streets, number 2022-2.
So moved.
Moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Derek. All in favor? Approved.
She'll have the insurance too.
Yeah, I have no doubts that she will. She was just running a little late. Glad she got it in today. And let's see here. Got an email from Helen. The council had contributed $2,554 from the Transit Guest Tax Fund for the International Sportsman Expo in Denver. The expenditures were less than that, and so there was a difference of $578.58. She'd like to know what you would like them to do with that, either refund it to the city, use it for brochures. What would you like them to do?
Brochures.
Brochures would be fine. I mean, I think that would be all right.
Yeah, we're buying those anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a new person?
Not
She's
yet.
supposed to start the first.
Did they find somebody? Did you get?
Really, really dynamic, bright young lady.
Good.
Who is it?
I haven't met her yet. Her name is Chris. I don't even know her last name. I was gone when,
The first, you said?
yeah.
Good.
I didn't know we had heard of somebody.
Good.
Leaving?
Yeah, she did.
But Helen's, she's not there, is she? Is she
She'll
in
stay.
here?
Part-time.
She's going to stay for a while, but
Just, okay. Transition phase.
make sure she gets on her feet, yeah.
Good for her. I haven't talked to her in a while.
I wish more people could have been at her deal
Yeah,
that day, but
I forgot
it's always
you were
it's
gone.
always tough time to have things,
it is.
Congratulations.
no matter what. Okay, what else do you have?
Well, I guess I can go on. Shirley Sherlock at 320 North Quincy. Nobody lives in the house. It's vacant. She just keeps the water on to keep the yard looking nice in the neighborhood. But she is asking the council to waive the sewer fee because typically if you've got water, you've got sewer charges. But there is nobody living in the house, and she'd like you guys to waive the sewer fee.
She's just maintaining the yard.
Yes.
Where's this at?
It's her house, right?
320 North Quincy.
Oh,
I don't know where that
It's
is.
North Quincy.
Across from the old greenhouse, just to the east, on the corner there. She just uses it for storage.
Mm. Which could be a can of worms with what you just said.
Should we hold off until we know for sure?
Well, the reason I say that is if there's something there and it's being used for storage, then all of these trash waiver places, then are we going to waive that for them too?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's all she's for storage.
What is the sewer rate? It's only $3 a month.
No, it's more than that, but I'm not sure exactly. And I probably won't be able to tell you because our internet's not working. Well, we can look if you want to know it. Let me look.
We went from $1 to $3, which we got complaints that we had a 300% increase at that time. That was several years ago.
What are we on?
Well, but the sewer rate at a house that they don't use the sewer and stuff, but she does water the
She
grass.
waters the yard. Keep it nice looking.
And it's a vacant house?
Yeah.
Dan, how many people y'all still need to hire down there?
2 for sure.
2 for sure?
No, it's 1425.
1425 now. Okay.
And the ordinance says if it's connected to the sanitary sewer system.
Well, it is connected. Right, and there's functioning restrooms, right? It's a house.
I don't know. It's just storage in that house, so I don't know.
Where is it?
What did she say it was?
The address is 320 North Quincy.
Wonder why-
Same block as the greenhouse?
It's just across the street. East of the old greenhouse.
Can't place it.
Yeah.
Is it that tiny one that's been remodeled?
2-story?
Jason
Yeah.
Paget remodeled it? Was that?
No, it's across the street.
Across the, okay.
Yeah.
Just south of that one.
Okay.
I wonder why they wait all these years and then want to, I don't know. Like I said, we opened up a can of worms when we started doing all that too. I don't think
I don't have
we
much
did.
about this idea what we're doing on this one. So you think?
Table it. I don't know, I'd have to look at it.
Yeah.
I can't place it.
Can we table it till the next meeting?
Right, and the last thing is, either myself or the mayor need to request an executive session for non-elected personnel. You do have some city super applications to look at.
Yeah. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the clerk report? Moved by David, second by Larry, all in favor, approved. Okay, let's go to council comments. David?
I have 2. Don't hate me, but I want to ask for 10 minutes of executive session to talk about crossovers. And then...
I don't think we
That's
can do
not a
that.
valid, that's not a valid,
It's not?
no. You could, so whatever it is you're going to talk about is public record unless it's attorney-client privilege, and if it's attorney-client privilege, your attorney has to be here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think we can.
How do I skin this cat?
Well, you could wait until we have our meeting.
What's that?
You can wait until we have the meeting with the attorney.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and some of it is depending upon that meeting and how long it is, we're looking at resolutions. We're all smart people. There's got to be, as he was saying tonight, it's a poor reflection of us, and we look really, really bad. And so there's got to be something we can do in the interim to come up with some solution.
Well,
You raise $5 million, we can do it. That's the solution, $5 million to do what we want to do up there. They said 3 to 5, so I'll say 5. It really is. That's the trouble.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost a mile.
What's that?
Furniture is almost a mile. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next thing is, I haven't, okay, just so you mind, but I know Scott's getting 5, 6, 7 calls a day, stepping into a new role, doing both mayor role and superintendent role, and I think even Amanda's kind of helping you in that a little bit, but she's probably getting a few calls. But it only seems fair until we get a new, whoever it may be, superintendent full-time, that I was wondering if we want to consider bumping him up $200 or $300 a month, because he's having to take on a lot, well, from what I'm understanding, a lot more roles and function. Is that something we could even do?
So you guys' pay is set by ordinance. You would have to pass an ordinance to increase the mayor's pay, but I would have to check to find out if you can do that and then reduce it. I don't know, but it would have to be by ordinance.
And would it be increasing the mayor's pay, or would it be increasing the part-time superintendent's pay?
If you're talking about the mayor,
Yeah.
he's the mayor. He's
Okay.
not an employee. He's an
Okay.
elected official. So there's different rules that apply to you guys. Now you can raise his pay, but not an elected official.
But I
like
just
that.
know how, when you have to step into a new role like that, and how easy it is, people don't realize that all of a sudden it's occupying about half your time. So,
Is that something you want me to look into?
Well, I mean, I haven't been in a lot of time, but maybe once we look at these, we can move forward some way. So let's wait just a little bit before you look into that stuff. I mean, if I knew there was going to be 8 months out there, I'd say, well, it's your turn next. But I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But let's wait just a little bit. Let's look at these.
so that's all I got.
Thank you. Okay.
I want to be sure we commit some to the, what's it called again? The,
Child advocacy?
yeah, advocacy.
So we'll talk about this at budget time.
Okay.
You guys usually budget $5,000 for community
Yeah.
like them.
Okay.
So you guys, we'll talk about that at budget time after
Okay.
you.
And then the only other thing is Valley Street, that corner, the Valley and First. If you think there's any way, we maybe get the county involved to shore up that corner and make it so it doesn't wash out so bad.
Valley and First,
Yeah.
you're talking about
The
having
dirt
to do
road.
all the valley.
Well, it all needs done, but the worst part is always that corner.
Well, what was it, a couple of years ago we did
I
that?
don't know if we can put some asphalt in there and oil it or something, chip seal, shit, I don't know.
Didn't they
That's
already
too
say
soft
that
the ground, isn't it? Up there, nothing will hold.
Rock the hell
Up there by
Swigert.
Yeah.
Swigert,
Yeah,
up,
That's pretty sandy right there.
Yeah,
yeah.
real sandy.
We did do a little bit of stuff there. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Put a layer of heavy rock underneath it or something, and, I don't know. Anything? That would help, maybe put it on our list, I don't know. That's all I got.
And how come that's never been a part of it? It's been paved.
We've got several streets that aren't paved. But
I didn't know.
homeowners are got to ask for it, and then
Oh, there's no sidewalk or curb.
then they have to help pay for it.
Okay, curbs.
Curb. yeah.
Curb and
Curb.
gutter, sidewalks and stuff.
Okay.
And how is it? If the homeowner puts in curb and gutter and sidewalks, they can require us. Do we have to pay that the first time, or is that still part of the? Or is that still part of the homeowners that pay for that? And then after it's been done once, then it's our. I don't remember.
I
I'd
think
have to
that's it,
I
because
think
our
that's
street,
right.
we had the property owners had to pay for it.
That's what
pay for it.
that's
Yeah,
what
I think that's the way it is.
Okay.
So the street owners would have to agree to it, and you're not going to get the street owners on some of the places where we don't have it to agree on that.
Mm.
So there.
I am gone. Is it 13th, I think?
Okay, Larry.
Nothing.
Okay. And Lila already mentioned the executive meeting we need to go into, so.
How much time, Lila? Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
They've been doing a good job.
You
Before I
have-
forget about it, pool's on track to open Sunday. Had to back training off until this coming Friday because of the weather. There's a couple little odds and ends that need done yet, but everything seems to be on track.
Make sure Kelly calls me about that, because those kids have got to get their paperwork done as soon as they're done with training so they can work.
Okay.
That's something I forgot to mention on my superintendent report. Up the roadside park and the swimming pool, all that money we spent on the COVID hands-free faucets are junk.
Yep.
Junk. They froze up, they're no good, so we went back with regular faucets.
Yeah.
And just so
I
you
used
guys
to-
know.
This one doesn't even work. The toilet
yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, though, I did reach out to the Office
Yeah.
of Recovery, and they said, we can put in our old equipment, but we have to keep the stuff that we bought and save it in case we are ever audited. We can prove that we did, in fact, buy that stuff.
Really?
So we're going to put it back here. So if you ever, when I'm gone,
Be more efficient.
Well, what was odd was there was a gal from, I don't remember where she was from. She was at the courthouse the other day. Oh, I forgot this too. Recycle center. We're in a bind there. Willie wants to keep working on it. We're trying to figure out who to work with him and trying to find contact numbers. I talked to Travis to see if he could find if Roger had any folders up there that had phone numbers in it, but they haven't found anything yet. So I'm sure Roger's got to have something up there, some phone numbers in it.
Be any point getting a hold of the people in Atwood?
So
I don't know.
Well, I was trying to get hold of the people down to where we've been hauling the stuff to Hutchison. Talk to those guys down there, what they're going to still accept and what they won't accept and all that. So if anybody thinks of somebody that they think would be good to help work with recycling, Willie's going to try to see if he can find somebody too, but we're kind of stuck right now. When Roger passed away, that threw a bind in it. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm done. I knew I did write something down. But, what I was saying about the courthouse was this lady came up, and they had all the courthouse done too. And she goes to all the courthouses in northwest Kansas. Says, none of the rest of them did this.
Really?
Yeah. So our question was to her that what did they do with the COVID money?
yeah.
Because they didn't spend it to do all that. She said this is the first place that she's come into where everything was done, like they was requesting to be done. And she says, I've been in all the courthouses.
Well, they would have had to turn it back, wouldn't they?
Maybe
Unless
they
they
never
come
applied for it,
Well,
you know.
it could be. Because that was one that we had to apply for. It wasn't just automatic.
There's times when you apply for that. I know with the asbestos due up the school, I fought it and fought it and fought it. We still haven't replaced the tunnel. It still has asbestos in it. Nobody should be in that tunnel.
Yeah.
Except for somebody that has to work, and then and at that time we put up there on that door, you have to wear a suit and a mask up and everything to go in the tunnel. It's not going to ever affect any of us or any kids because it's in a tunnel that's padlocked shut. But they was going to charge $80-some thousand to go clean that off the pipes in the tunnel. At that time, that's been a long time ago. Maybe they did it. I don't know. I don't think so.
So how much time?
You've got 3 applicants to look at.
So I move we go into executive session for the purpose of non-elected personnel with everybody in the room for 15 minutes coming out at 10:25.
Okay. By Larry, second by Kale, all in favor? Okay. Okay.
And unfortunately,
You know we ran over time. Way over.
Oh, no. Right on time.
Okay. So, okay, we came out of executive session and there has been no motion taken on anything, so we're going to table this for another couple of weeks or a month, whatever it takes, and we'll move forward from there. So, do I hear a motion to adjourn? David and Gail got up first, I think.
Yes, sir.